Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Man in American Comics. Start Regenerative Healing Factor. Chapter 81. Boom. Under the bombardment of the rocket launcher, a violent explosion occurred in the office and a raging fire ignited. Amick and his men were swallowed up by the scorching flames before they even had time to fire their guns. With the assistance of Lu Chuang, Mindy went to again several rockets were fired from the location of the office. After finishing all this, the two didn't stay long, grabbed the bazooka and stuffed it into a big bag and quickly left the rooftop. It's so cool, it's definitely the coolest thing I've ever done. Mindy shouted excitedly as he ran, as if he had discovered the door to a new world. In the past, she and Big Daddy started to deal with Amick's subordinates. It was like a level-breaking game. Only after passing one level can they lead to the final boss battle. Now Lu Chuang takes her to skip all the mob levels. Directly went around the back-end boss's lair. This feeling is simply amazing. However, she still couldn't help asking curiously, is this really an assassination? Why do I feel weird? What are you thinking? This is definitely an assassination. Did you see that there was a living person discovering our identity at the end? No, Mindy thought for a while, under the power of such a terrifying explosion, not to mention the skull, even the ceiling was almost blown up, and now the bones of Amick and his men are afraid that there is not even scum left, so they directly cremation. How could there be living people in the office? Lu Chuang said righteously. Since no living person found out our identities in the end, I have no doubts, this is a perfect assassination operation. So that's it, I understand. Mingdi suddenly realized that killing all the enemies is the true meaning of an assassin. When the two of them ran down the stairs to the bottom of the building, the urgent sound of sirens came from a distance, and Lu Chuang found the motorcycle that had been prepared by the side of the road calmly, and sat in the driver's seat. Then he looked back at Mindy, who was sitting in the back seat. Hold on firmly, my speed may be a little faster next time, don't let go. Lu Chuang reminded him kindly. Mindy felt that she was underestimated, and she was full of confidence. Don't underestimate me. If it weren't for my short legs, I could ride a motorcycle by myself. No matter how fast your car is, you can't scare me, even if you drive fast. Don't worry. That's good. After all, this is the second time for me to sit in the driving seat of a motorcycle. I will inevitably feel a little nervous. Since you have said so, then I can rest assured. Wait, what did you say? Under Mindy's frightened gaze, Lu Chuang twisted the accelerator suddenly, and the motorcycle shot out instantly. Accompanied by the brutal roar of the engine, the surrounding scenery is crazily reversed. Ah, 5 million USD has arrived in the account, and the employer is very satisfied with you, saying that it is a 4-star praise. In Sister Margaret's bar, Weasel took the black card from Lu Chuang, and then transferred the reward to Lu Chuang's account. Why 4 stars, shouldn't it be 5 stars? Lu Chuang was not happy. The other party said that your driving skills are too good, so 1 star will be deducted. Lu Chuang was stunned. Point deducted for being too good, what kind of thing is that? Looking at the extra 5 million United States dollars on the account, Lu Chuang felt that at least he had a pair of steel gloves, and it was a big step away from 50 million United States dollars. Thinking of this, Lu Chuang couldn't wait to say, Weasel, put all the high-paying commissions in New York. I want to clean up the copy of the entire New York. Wait a minute, before that, I have something to tell you. Weasel motioned Lu Chuang to look behind with his eyes, and said, there is someone over there who said he was looking for you, you'd better go and have a look. Looking for me? Lu Chuang was a little surprised. Could it be that his reputation as Sister Margaret's bar handle has spread so quickly? Without thinking too much, Lu Chuang picked up the Happy Fat House water from the bar, turned around and walked to the corner of the bar, wanting to see the person the Weasel mentioned. We meet again, Doctor. As the familiar voice came, Lu Chuang realized that it was Matt. It's you, Lawyer Ma. I'm not working in the church today, you need to talk to me at another time. Matt's expression froze. Lu Chuang's words brought back some very bad memories for him. Lu Chuang asked curiously, how did you find this place? It's not difficult to find you as long as you know your range of activities. Matt said in a deep voice. For him with super hearing, it is really not difficult to locate a person. Without Lu Chuang's knowledge, Matt has secretly followed him and discovered this mercenary bar. Taking a deep breath, Matt said expressionlessly, Mr. Liu, I already know your identity, so you are a mercenary. When his identity was exposed, Lu Chuang did not panic, and said solemnly, actually, my main job is still a priest. It's just that the church is on summer vacation recently. I took advantage of the vacation to work as a summer job and part-time as a mercenary. Asterisk. Matt didn't respond. He didn't believe the lie of summer vacation workers and part-time mercenaries. After a few seconds of silence, Matt suddenly said something that surprised Lu Chuang. Since you are a mercenary, I would like to ask you to complete a commission this time. You want to issue a commission? Lu Chuang raised his eyebrows and asked. Tell me first, what is the content of the entrustment? Ask before doing. Now Lu Chuang has fully possessed the qualities that a mercenary should have. I hope you can go with me to save people. Save people. Lu Chuang was taken aback. He didn't expect the content of this commission. After all, he knew that Matt was not an ordinary person. As a daredevil in Hell's Kitchen, he didn't back down in the face of so many criminals. Now he actually needs to hire himself to save people together. Matt said with a complicated expression. Yes, save a person. This person is a woman who has a good relationship with me. Oh, it's your concubine. Lu Chuang suddenly realized. Matt choked suddenly. What a concubine, can you use a better word? His emotions became incoherent to Lu Chuang again. Worst of all though, Matt found himself seeming to be getting used to it, and quickly picked up the line. We have a great relationship, I mean, she was my TZT from college. Fearing that Lu Chuang would come up with some strange words, Matt emphasized the identity of the other party, and continued. Not long ago, she suddenly appeared and found me, saying that she wanted my help, although the things she did I didn't like it very much, but I heard it was about gangsters, so I agreed. As a result, when we investigated deeply, we found that the gang organization was not simple, and it was full of ninjas who had received the most professional training. Speaking of this, Matt frowned suddenly, and he found that he seemed to have talked too much. Everything that should be said has been said, and some things that should not be said are almost all said. He had a perception, only to find that Lu Chuang in front of him was drinking the happy fat house water, while listening with his ears up, with an expression of watching a play. Finding that Matt didn't speak, Lu Chuang urged subconsciously. Go on, why don't you talk? We're talking about the exciting part. I can tell you, breaking chapters will cost you money. Matt. He suddenly felt that he shouldn't be here. Matt took a deep breath. For Lu Chuang's weird ability that makes people confide, he was not without any defenses before that. However, he still fell for it unknowingly. To be honest, if it wasn't for asking for help, Matt wouldn't even want to contact Lu Chuang. Matt broke the jar and said directly, we found that gang organization named Hand Heihui, and its members are all neon ninjas who are proficient in various fighting skills and weapons. Our actions were quickly discovered. After that, we were hunted down by a large number of ninjas. In the end, I managed to escape, but Erica was caught by those ninjas on the spot, and I couldn't save her in time. Matt clenched his fists and turned towards Lu Chuang with a serious face. So, I hope you can go with me to rescue Erica. Those ninjas are not weak, only me, person. It is very difficult to rescue Erica safely, and I need your help. Open black lens bracket title trigger, close black lens bracket. Thieves don't leave empty space, can be completed. Unlock condition. Steal the treasures of the Hand and Society, a total of 30 million United States dollars, 0.003 W. Title obtained. Super High School Level Thief. The game system pops up suddenly, triggering a new achievement task. Lu Chuang was overjoyed, and immediately let go of Matt in front of him, and looked at the content of the mission. Steal the treasures of the Hand and Society. And there is a limit on the amount, which adds up to at least 30 million United States dollars. Lu Chuang lowered his head and pondered. He didn't see the difficulty of this achievement task for the time being. After all, he wasn't sure if there were any treasures worth 20 million yuan in Hand Heihui. Even if there were, he didn't know where these treasures were hidden. It takes time to find it. But the question is, will those ninjas in Hand and Club give him time to find it slowly? Mr. Liu, are you listening to me? Finding that Lu Chuang was suddenly silent, Matt couldn't help but reminded. Lu Chuang came back to his senses and nodded. Listen, that is to say, you are going to hire me to rescue your mistress with you. Ex-girlfriend, Matt corrected. Almost. Lu Chuang smiled slightly. In this case, Lawyer Ma, how much do you plan to pay to hire me? Hearing this, Matt suddenly showed a somewhat embarrassing expression. I plan to pay 200,000 United States dollars. In fact, 200,000 USD is already quite a lot. The reason why Matt showed this expression was because he had just overheard the conversation between Lu Chuang and Weasel, and knew that Lu Chuang had just completed a commission worth 5 million USD. Compared with 5 million United States dollars, his 200,000 United States dollars instantly seemed insignificant. Matt's mood is a little complicated. Is this how mercenaries make money? Lawyer Ma, don't you run a law firm? How can you be so poor? Lu Chuang looked surprised. He knew that lawyers can make a lot of money in America, so Matt should be quite rich. Heartbroken, Matt explained helplessly. The main purpose of our firm is not to make money, so the money we earn is not a lot of money except for maintaining the firm's daily operations. Lawyers are indeed very lucrative, but the law firm opened by Matt and Fudge is located in Hell's Kitchen, surrounded by civilians who don't have much money. In addition, Matt has his own principles. He is unwilling to serve those bad people, and often helps the poor to file lawsuits for free, so that his income is far less than the normal income of a lawyer's career. Most of his money comes from those innocent people, earned by the rich. I see, Lu Chuang said cheerfully. However, Lawyer Ma, you may not know who you are just here. Let me introduce my identity to you again. I am the ace mercenary of this bar, and the current commission completion rate remains 100%. 100. In addition, I also have the title of Top 10 Outstanding Mercenaries, the most handsome mercenaries, and the most Chinese-speaking mercenaries. So, you understand what I mean? Matt shook his head, and said honestly, although I don't quite understand what you mean, I can tell that you made up those titles yourself. I've already said this, don't you understand what I mean? You're still a lawyer in vain. Lu Chuang looked like he hated iron, but then his expression turned serious. I mean, 200,000 USD doesn't work, you have to pay more. Matt, is there anything you can't say directly? Hearing Lu Chuang's words, Matt was not surprised. He knew that his little money was really not enough. Matt sighed. Sorry, this is already all my property. If there is more, I still have time to collect it, but Erica is in danger at any time now. I don't have much time. That's it. Well, for the sake of our acquaintance, I'll give you a discount. Lu Chuang narrowed his eyes slightly, and looked at Matt maliciously. However, first you have to promise me one thing. As long as you agree, I will take over this commission. Although Matt couldn't see it, his keen perception ability could feel a strong malice ahead. Putting aside the idea of staying away from the other party, Matt pretended to be calm and asked, "What? Let's talk about it first. Even if it is to save people, I will not promise you to do something that violates the law. Do you have any misunderstandings about me? Why do you always think that I will let you do illegal things?" Lu Chuang innocently clarified his image, and then said, "I promise, this is definitely a trivial matter, and it will never violate your principles and morals." Hearing this, Matt secretly heaved a sigh of relief. After thinking for a moment, he nodded. Okay, I promise, we will set off to rescue Erica tonight. No problem. Night, Hell's Kitchen. According to the agreed time, Lu Chuang, wearing a black mask, drove to the destination. This is a dark alley. Lu Chuang got out of the car, and shouted cautiously, "Lawyer Ma, I have arrived at destination 0.6, have you heard my voice? Please answer, over." "Stop shouting, I'm here." A steady voice came from above. Lu Chuang looked up and saw Matt wearing Daredevil's dark red battle suit, standing upright on the roof of the low building, like the devil in the night, making all the criminals feel chills. However, tonight's demons seemed to be extraordinarily dazzling. I saw Matt standing in the shadows, and the red battle suit kept emitting red light. It was like a pitch-black firefly, so bright and outstanding. The melancholy eyes, bearded beard, and the two slightly raised horns of the hood completely betrayed him. Matt's hands trembled, trying to suppress the unrest in his heart. "Mr. Lu, I have a question to ask. Why do you want me to smear fluorescent powder on the battle suit?" What Matt promised Lu Chuang was very simple, that is, evenly spread a pile of powder that Lu Chuang gave on the battle suit. At first Matt didn't know what that pile of powder was. In line with the idea of keeping the agreement, Matt had to apply these powders to Daredevil's battle suit. As a result, at night, After Matt ran out wearing a battle suit, he was inexplicably discovered by a passing gangster on the spot. After a severe beating, Matt realized that the pile of powder turned out to be fluorescent powder. At the moment, the red fluorescence emitted from his body was actually more dazzling than the street lamps. Daredevil, thus becoming fluorescent. From a demon in the dark night, he instantly became the brightest handsome guy in Hell's Kitchen. Matt knew that he must have been tricked by Lu Chuang. If Matt hadn't been a Catholic, he would have been tempted to swear at this point. "Listen to me to explain to you," Lu Chuang said seriously. "That's right, our main purpose this time is to save people, but there are only two of us, so if we rashly break into the enemy's lair like this, the two of us are at risk of being exposed at any time. Quote, if two of us are discovered, let alone saving lives, we may not even be able to protect ourselves, so we have to have a solid plan." Hearing Lu Chuang's explanation, Matt's complexion improved slightly. Indeed, the territory of the hand and society is not so easy to break into. Matt has a deep understanding of this. After all, what they will face is a group of well-trained neon ninjas, and even his ability is difficult to deal with. Once in trouble, their chances of rescuing Erica will be greatly reduced, which is not what Matt wants to see. It's just that, what does this have to do with phosphors? This is about the plan I'm going to talk about next. Lu Chuang said slowly. My plan is this: we need one person to expose himself actively and be responsible for attracting the attention of all enemies, and the other person will have the opportunity to sneak in and rescue people secretly. In the words of my hometown, this is called the strategy of turning the tiger away from the mountain. I see, just follow the plan you said. Matt thinks this plan is reasonable, at least it can avoid a lot of trouble. Seeing this, Lu Chuang's expression immediately became serious. However, the task of the person who chooses to expose himself is very difficult, because this person needs to attract the attention of most enemies so as to reduce the risk of another being discovered. That's why I propose that this task must be completed by a person with a very mocking ability. Matt was silent for a while, and then said blankly, "Leave this task to me, I will attract the attention of the enemy, you go to rescue Erica." Lu Chuang gave a thumbs up and praised. As expected of Lawyer Ma, he is really responsible. Since you have said so, then I will not compete with you for this difficult task. Matt didn't answer. He wanted to be in charge of the mission of saving lives. But the problem is, it's hard not to attract attention with his current fluorescent body. He has no choice at all. Let's go quickly. Matt jumped in front of Lu Chuang. He didn't want to waste time. After all, Erica is still in the hands of He Wei. The longer we delay, the more dangerous the other party's situation will be. Wait, I'll get something. As he spoke, Lu Chuang took down a prepared big bag from the motorcycle. Although Matt was puzzled, he didn't ask, and led Lu Chuang quickly through the streets of Hell's Kitchen. Soon, they stopped outside a building. Hiding in the corner, Matt said, "I've checked here, and it's a transportation company from Neon, but in fact, the employees inside are all disguised neon ninjas. They won't leave here easily, they are probably hiding somewhere in this company, we better be careful." Quote, "No problem, as long as these ninjas don't know how to form seals and don't wear colored contact lenses, I'm not afraid of how many of them come." With a confident face, Lu Chuang took out a small instrument from his pocket and handed it to Matt. "This is a communicator, which is convenient for our next actions." Matt nodded, and then took the communicator. The two did not enter through the main entrance, but walked into the underground parking garage of the building. Boom! Suddenly a pistol appeared in Lu Chuang's hand, and he fired a special bullet at the monitor in the underground parking garage. This is a jammer bot from Weasel, which can make the monitor screen play in a loop. Without the trouble of the monitor, the two quickly found the stairs leading to the top. Erica should be on the upper floors, we'll start searching from Shenyang. No problem. Lu Chuang and Matt are not ordinary people, they ran along the building and rushed to the upper floor of the building. When they reached the 13th floor, Matt listened to the outside movement in front of the door. After confirming that there was no problem, the two came to the corridor of the building. It was dark here, the lights were all turned off, and the whole environment was as silent as a haunted house, which makes people get goosebumps. After walking a few steps, Matt suddenly stopped and said in a low voice, "There is movement, hide quickly." Although Lu Chuang does not have Matt's super sense, but he can see in the darkness, there are two souls appearing in the field of vision, walking towards their direction. Without saying a word, he turned and went back to the stairs. But Matt didn't go back, he reacted very quickly, and directly found a suitable corner to hide. For such a scene, Matt obviously has a wealth of experience in coping with it. He clearly knows where the human blind spot is. As long as he is stuck in the blind spot, no one will notice his existence. It is precisely because of this skill that Daredevil has become the Red Devil in the minds of many criminals. They will never know if there is a demon watching you around the corner. As the figures of the two people gradually approached, Matt held his breath, as if merging with the surrounding darkness. Through the supersensory ability, he can feel two people passing by. Just when Matt thought they were going to walk over, the two suddenly turned their heads to look at his position. Who forgot to turn off the light? Ghost. Baga, this is not a ghost, it's an intruder has come in. Matt, how could he forget about this? Now that I am hiding in the darkness, in the eyes of outsiders, I may be the brightest existence in the entire room. Bang bang. Suddenly, the short metal stick hit the two figures. Maybe they were stunned by the red light emanating from Matt's body. Before the two could react, they were knocked unconscious by the short metal stick. However, their voices had already spread, and Matt could hear several slight footsteps in the darkness. Just when Matt wanted to hide subconsciously, he heard a loud shout from the front. He is here, his whole body is glowing, grab this guy. Matt paused, letting go of the hidden thought. He sighed, grabbed the metal short stick and rushed directly over. Listening to the sound of fighting from the communicator, Lu Chuang knew that Matt had started to draw hatred. It's time to act. Without wasting any time, Lu Chuang immediately ran upstairs along the stairs. Lawyer Arima is responsible for attracting the attention of the enemy, so that not many people bother him to save people. Definitely, there is one more important thing. That is to steal a total of 30 million United States dollars worth of treasures. In fact, the reason why Lu Chuang asked Matt to apply fluorescent powder was to help him absorb hatred and delay time. With Matt, a natural mocking body in front of him, he could look for valuable treasures without any scruples. Opening the stair door on the 14th floor, Lu Chuang saw a figure in a black ninja uniform coming to him. The other party also noticed him, his face changed suddenly, and the katana in his hand suddenly stabbed at Lu Chuang. Unexpectedly, Lu Chuang suddenly turned around to avoid his attack, changed his hand to a tranquilizer gun, and shot the ninja's thigh. The red-clothed ninja's legs gave way, and he fell to the ground in an instant, and the katana in his hand fell to the ground. Lu Chuang put away the anesthesia gun, replaced it with a pistol and pressed it against the red-clothed ninja's head, and asked, "Quickly tell me, where are all the valuable treasures hidden?" Since the dose of anesthesia this time was not very high, the ninja in red did not pass out, and still retained a sliver of consciousness. Hearing Lu Chuang's words, the ninja in red froze for a moment, as if he didn't expect that Lu Chuang would ask this question. When the red-clothed ninja came back to his senses, he glared at Lu Chuang. "Baga." Boom. Lu Chuang raised the butt of his gun and smashed it over, directly interrupting the red-clothed ninja's words. "Speaking of human beings, I'm in a hurry, where are all the valuable treasures hidden here?" While speaking, Lu Chuang reached out to touch the pocket of the red-clothed ninja. "FK, don't you bring any money when you go out?" The red-clothed ninja was a little confused. He originally thought that the intruder had some kind of special purpose, for example, to save the woman from the previous day, but looking at it now, why does he feel that the other party is more like a simple where as the robber? Idiot. Boom. Before he could finish speaking, the ninja in red was shot by Lu Chuang. No way, his time is limited, and he can't spend too much time on interrogation. Seeing that the ninja in red had no intention of telling the truth, Lu Chuang simply killed him with a single shot. Lu Chuang saw katana on the ground and used the game system to investigate out of habit. Open black lens bracket target meets the requirements, estimate, 5,000 United States dollars close black lens bracket. Lu Chuang raised his brows, how could he find out the value? Without thinking too much, Lu Chuang grabbed katana and threw it into the sack. Although the goal of collecting 30 million United States dollars is still far away, but now it is a little bit. Lu Chuang grabbed the sack and continued to go deeper. When he saw something, he used the game system to investigate. As long as it was a slightly valuable item, he threw it into the sack. After Lu Chuang checked the entire floor, he carried the sack behind him. It is already bulging, and there is only more than half of the space inside. Unlock condition. Steal the treasures of the hand and society, a total of 30 million United States dollars, 14W, 3000W. Isn't it? The total here is less than 200,000 United States dollars. Lu Chuang was very uncomfortable. The sack was half filled, and he didn't even get a piece of it. Did you find Erica? At this time, Matt's panting sound came from the communicator, and it sounded like the other party was running. I haven't found it for the time being. I plan to change the floor and continue searching. Can you still hold it? It should be fine, but hurry up. Okay. Lu Chuang ran down the stairs to the 15th floor and started his search again. Those low-value items were directly ignored by him, and only high-value items were loaded. Soon Lu Chuang's sack was going to be full. After thinking about it, he began to clear out the items with the lowest value in the sack. He even threw away the katana at the beginning, so as not to occupy the space in the sack. After searching this floor, Lu Chuang went to the next floor without stopping. After Lu Chuang searched 2 floors in a row, Matt's voice came from the communicator again. Have you not found it yet? At the moment Matt's voice sounded noticeably weak. He was almost exhausted. His body was full of fluorescent lights in the dark, as if he had a mocking aura, and those ninjas rushed towards him constantly. Matt fought and fled again, and barely resisted the enemy's crazy offensive. There was almost no time to rest during the process. Even Matt, whose body surpassed ordinary people, couldn't help feeling tired at this moment. Hurry up, I'll find it right away. Lu Chuang didn't lie. He did search several floors, but couldn't find Matt's ex-girlfriend Erica. He asked curiously, Lawyer Ma, are you not good enough? Attorney Ma perceived several figures appearing in front of him again. He gritted his teeth, okay. Immediately afterwards, there was another fierce fighting sound from the communicator. Going to the 18th floor, Lu Chuang was not so lucky this time. As soon as he opened the stair door, Lu Chuang saw 5 faint white souls in the darkness, hidden in various inconspicuous corners. As Lu Chuang moved, the debris piled up in the sack inevitably made a crackling sound, which instantly attracted the attention of these hidden people. Seeing the full sack behind Lu Chuang and the statue protruding from the mouth of the sack inadvertently, the 5 red-clothed ninjas hiding the king's money in the corner were stunned. What's the situation? Their company has been stolen. Without thinking too much, 5 ninjas in red came out from the corner. Their movements were as swift as the wind, and the katana in their hands turned into a cold light and stabbed at various parts of Lu Chuang respectively. The cooperation was extremely tacit, as if they had been rehearsed countless times, and almost blocked all the space for Lu Chuang to dodge. However, Lu Chuang did not intend to dodge, but took out a cylindrical object from his bosom and threw it into the air. Illumination. Following a flash of white light, 5 red ninjas covered their eyes and fell to the ground. Indoors, the effect of the flashbang is simply brought to the extreme. At such a close distance, even these professionally trained ninjas couldn't resist the power of the flash bombs, and directly lost all combat abilities. At the same time, Lu Chuang stood there with tears streaming down his face, muttering in his mouth, this move is decisive and powerful. It is indeed the magic that Gandalf is best at. It didn't take long for Lu Chuang to regain his eyesight. Seeing the 5 red-clothed ninjas struggling on the ground, Lu Chuang raised his pistol and quickly dealt with them. Lu Chuang groped the wall, and quickly found the switch button. After turning it on, the whole floor instantly became bright. Lu Chuang realized that the decoration here is different from other floors. It looks quite luxurious. Lu Chuang randomly scouted take a look at the vases placed by the corridor. Open black lens bracket target is qualified, estimate, 460,000 United States dollars close black lens bracket. Lu Chuang's eyes suddenly lit up. The value of this vase would exceed the total value of his sack. Immediately afterwards, Lu Chuang glanced at the paintings hanging on the wall. Open black lens bracket target is eligible, estimate, 580,000 United States dollars close black lens bracket. As expected. It's full of great value here. No wonder there are red-clothed ninjas guarding here. It turns out that I have broken into an important place. Thinking of this, Lu Chuang immediately looked into the depths of the corridor. According to the usual urination, the most valuable things must be hidden in the innermost. Soon, he found a somewhat special door. The door was tightly locked, and there was a combination lock on the outside. Lu Chuang didn't have any experience at all with the fine work of unlocking. Fortunately, he was well prepared. He took out a special bomb from his butt pocket and stuck it directly on it, and then hid in a corner. Boom! A violent explosion sounded. Accompanied by thick smoke, a hole was blown out of the original combination lock. Lu Chuang kicked the door open and saw a spacious room inside, so he walked in directly. It seemed that he heard the explosion here, and Matt's voice came from the communicator. What happened? I found a room, which seems to be very simple. Hearing Lu Chuang's words, Matt's expression became serious. This is the site of the hand and meeting. It seems that Lu Chuang may have discovered some secrets of the hand and meeting. He whispered, "What did you find?" "I found it." Just as Lu Chuang was about to answer, he saw a variety of collectibles neatly placed in the depressions on the four walls of the room. Just looking at the surface, he felt that the value was very high. He quickly used the game system to investigate, and his eyes widened instantly. "I'll go, this thing is actually worth BDDJ, 5 million USD, good stuff, put it away first." Matt. Lu Chuang noticed that he had lost his composure, and pretended to be nonchalant and said, "I mean, this place is very different from others." "Wait, I seem to see your ex-girlfriend." In the middle of the room, Lu Chuang saw a woman tied to a chair by a rope, and asked through the communicator, "Is she tall and slender, with long hair fluttering, wearing a red dress, and the slit almost reaches the big pants?" "Yes, she is Erica." Matt interrupted Lu Chuang's words, and if it made him continue, he would know where the guy's eyes were aimed. Matt asked anxiously, "How is she doing?" Lu Chuang took out a stick from the sack and poked Erica, but found that she was still. "It seems that she is unconscious, but there are no strange marks on her body, so it shouldn't be a big problem." "Rescue Erica, we leave here immediately, their number is increasing," Matt said. In his opinion, since Erica was found, there was no need for them to stay here. However, how could Lu Chuang agree? His achievement task has not been completed yet. If he runs away now, who knows if there will be such a good opportunity in the future. Lu Chuang immediately made an excuse. "Wait, I found that the rope is a little tight. You wait for me to untie the rope, try to delay the time, don't let the enemy come over, otherwise I will be with your ex-girlfriend, it's all over." Seeing that Erica was rescued, Matt didn't have any doubts. He panted heavily. "It's a bit difficult, those ninjas seem to have noticed the movement on your side, and I can't hold it anymore." In fact, Matt's physical strength could no longer support the high-intensity battle. Now he avoids fighting as much as possible, and uses various props around him to entangle these ninjas. Needless to say, this fighting method is quite effective, especially suitable for his street style. Then use your best profession to hold them back. While Lu Chuang was talking, he threw out all the things in the sack to make room for the collections in the room. "Best profession, you mean a lawyer?" "Yes, communicate with them, hold them back as much as possible, and let all their attention focus on you." "I can't do it, they are neon people, I have never learned Japanese." Matt shook his head. "The language of the two sides is completely different, how can they communicate?" "Don't worry about it, you can just say a few words in Japanese, anyway, it's enough to attract them. Believe me, their ninjas like talking the most." To be honest, Matt didn't really believe Lu Chuang's words, but thinking about Erica's safety, he had no choice but to drag his exhausted body towards the sensed ninja's position, and tentatively shouted, "Baga, Baga, Lu, you are dead." Although Matt does not understand Japanese, he found that these ninjas blurted out these words the moment they saw him. Presumably it should be the way the Neon Kingdom used to say hello, such as hello or something. As a high-quality lawyer, Matt naturally wanted to greet the other party first. Hearing Matt's words, the ninjas in red were all taken aback, then burst into ferocious anger. "Ba Ga Road, idiot, you are dead." The red-clothed ninjas burst out all kinds of Japanese in response, fked katana and rushed towards Matt like crazy. Seeing that the situation was not good, Matt ran away in a hurry. He didn't know that these words were not used for greetings at all, but for cursing. However, although the way he did it was a bit strange, he managed to attract the attention of these ninjas. During the escape, a group of ninjas appeared within Matt's perception range. Regarding the possibility of Lu Chuang and Erica being exposed, Matt could only bite the bullet and greet again, "Baga, Baga, you are dead." Baga Road. "Idiot, you are dead." Amidst the cordial and friendly greetings, the number of pursuers behind Matt gradually increased, and various props around him were used to the extreme by Matt, and the whole building became very lively. Hearing the constant quality greetings from the communicator, Lu Chuang was a little confused. Did I come to Zan? At the same time, in the monitoring room of the building, a man looked at the monitoring screen with an ugly expression. On the at-the-moment monitoring screen, Matt's real-time monitoring screen is being played. In the picture, Matt exudes a red light all over his body, which is especially eye-catching in the dark, as if he is afraid that others will not see him. While running away, he still does not forget to provoke the passing ninjas. Relying on his agility and the assistance of various props, Matt barely escaped the attacks of the ninjas every time, and ran from the 13th floor to the 8th floor. There were more than 20 ninjas chasing him behind him. Too arrogant, really too arrogant. Seeing the ninjas in the hands and club being played by Matt walking their dogs, the man trembled with anger, smashed hard on the table, and roared angrily, "What the hell is going on? Where did this intruder get in?" Quote, "Not sure, we are investigating." Several subordinates checked the monitoring screen, and one of them suddenly said, "Wait, there seems to be a problem with the timing of some monitoring screens, and these screens are being played in a loop." Hearing this, the man's pupils shrank suddenly, and he immediately came to the monitoring console. "Call out the surveillance on the 18th floor." Hearing his order, the subordinates quickly operated, and the monitoring screen on the 18th floor was quickly displayed. With the previous example, they instantly noticed something was wrong. These monitoring screens are also playing in a loop. Damn it, someone broke into the 18th floor. The man reacted immediately, and shouted, "The intruder has other companions, and their target is the woman who was captured by us. Quickly call out the hidden surveillance in the collection room." Seeing that the surveillance on the 18th floor was passive, the man knew that someone had already broken into there. As for what the opponent's goal is, the man basically guessed it, 100% came for that woman. Other than that, he couldn't think of any other possibility. With the operation of his subordinates, the monitoring picture of the collection room is displayed on the monitoring screen. What caught my eye was Erica, who hadn't moved at all, even the rope hadn't been untied. Could it be that people haven't entered the collection room yet? Just when everyone was wondering, a figure dressed in pitch black appeared on the surveillance screen. I saw him holding a bulging big sack in his hand, standing in front of the wall and looking at the collection, and then picked up one of the collection and weighed it in his hand a few times, as if he was estimating the weight. After he felt that the weight was suitable, he threw the collection into the sack, then picked up the next collection and continued to weigh it in his hands, repeating this process. The man's expression was stiff. What is he doing? Ah, it should be stealing something, the subordinates said with some uncertainty. After all, he saw that the other party didn't have the consciousness of being a thief at all, and the action of picking and picking didn't look like a thief, it was more like coming to a wholesale store to buy goods. So, the purpose of his sneaking in here is to steal things. The man finds this fact absurd. You know, this is the site of their hand and meeting. The other party took great pains to sneak in for no other reason than to steal the things they held and met. Isn't this the same as hacking into the Goddess Werther account, not flipping through private albums or doing other things, just to gain attention and follow each other? Men don't believe this statement at all. He believes that the other party is definitely not as simple as a thief, and the other party must have a deeper purpose. At this time, the man found that the sack of the man in the surveillance screen was already full, and seeing that there were still many collectibles that could not be put in, he scratched his head, as if he was distressed. So, he took out another sack from the sack, and then began to pick and choose there, keeping collecting items into the sack. He was sure that the other party was simply here to steal something. He took a deep breath and roared, "Send everyone immediately to the 18th floor to deal with this damn thief." But, did the intruder ignore it? The subordinate asked. "Don't worry about him, he is just a bait, deliberately leading our people to the lower level." The man roared angrily. Give up the pursuit of the intruder immediately, and let everyone go to the 18th floor, otherwise this damn thief will strip our building naked. Baga, Baga, Lu, you are dead. A bunch of red-clothed ninjas appeared around him. Matt's expression was numb, and his mouth was a set of quality 3 consecutive. Idiot, Baga roared. Die, die. The ninjas in red also made a friendly response. Matt thought that the army of ninjas behind him would add a few more people, but the ninjas in red just responded with a few words, but turned around and ran upstairs instead of responding to him. At the same time, the army of ninjas that Matt could perceive behind them also suddenly changed direction, and all of them ran upstairs, and some ninjas even pressed the elevator, intending to go upstairs in a scientific way. Oops, Lu Chuang's actions were discovered. Matt had a bad idea, and immediately said to the communicator, "Get out of there, they have found you, and they are heading to your floor." "No, I haven't finished the work here yet. Not yet resolved." Matt was shocked. "Is this rope made of titanium alloy? Does it take so long to untie it?" Lu Chuang was speechless. He looked at the game system. Unlock condition. Steal the treasures of the hand and society, a total of 30 million United States dollars, 2,300 with 3,000 W. There is no way, the capacity of the sacks is really limited. Lu Chuang can only try to choose some lightweight and high-value treasures, even so, the 2 sacks he brought almost can't fit. "I can't wait any longer, those ninjas are heading to your place now," Matt said anxiously. Hearing Matt's words, Lu Chuang knew that his actions might have been exposed. It is estimated that there are still some hidden cameras in the building that he has not discovered, so his actions will be leaked. Out of curiosity, Lu Chuang asked, "How many people?" "At least 30. What the hell?" Lu Chuang was dumbfounded. Did he poke a hornet's nest? Point 0. Hold on first, I'll come over right away. Matt perceived that the door of the elevator opened. Just as the elevator was about to close, he rushed into the elevator and started a fight with the ninja in the elevator. Looking at the 2 bulging sacks in his hands, and at the tall Erica, Lu Chuang suddenly felt a little melancholy. He seemed to have no way to take everything out. He couldn't leave Erica behind. He was afraid that Matt would find himself desperate. Lu Chuang thought about it, and casually threw a ball of mana to Erica. It didn't take long for Erica to move, and she slowly opened her eyes. Before Erica could speak, Lu Chuang said directly, "Time is running out, so I'll make a long story short. I'm Matt Murdock, please come to rescue you. There are a lot of ninjas coming towards us now, and now I need your help." Erica is clearly not your average person. Hearing Lu Chuang's explanation, she quickly figured out the situation, and said calmly, "I understand, I will cooperate with your actions next." In fact, Erica is also a powerful assassin. Erica thought that Lu Chuang knew about her combat ability from Matt, so she wanted her help to deal with the coming ninjas. "Give me the weapon, and I'll fight out with you," Erica said. As long as she is given a weapon, Erica believes that she can handle the next battle. "No, I think you misunderstood. I have a more important task for you." Lu Chuang threw one of the sacks to the ground, then picked up an ancient statue worth 4 million United States dollars next to him, and said with a serious expression, "Please help me carry this sack. I can't carry so much by myself. By the way, if it's convenient, help me bring the chamber pot as well. After all, it's quite valuable, thank you." Erica. Beep. The elevator door opened slowly, and Matt stood in the elevator with injuries all over his body, and the red-clothed ninjas were all unconscious at his feet. In such a small space, Matt's skills could not be fully displayed. Even with super perception ability, he was still inevitably injured. Matt perceived for a while, but didn't notice the other red-clothed ninjas. It turns out that the elevator is much faster than running the stairs. When Matt walked out of the elevator with difficulty, he suddenly felt 2 figures coming towards him. It was Lu Chuang and Erica. Seeing Matt's appearance, Lu Chuang said cheerfully, "Hey, isn't this Lawyer Ma? What a coincidence. What are you doing?" Matt was a little dazed. He wondered if there was something wrong with his perception. At the moment Lu Chuang is holding a large sack in his left hand, and pulling an ancient statue of a child file size in his right hand. And Erica's shape is even more weird. I saw that she was wrapped in ropes, and a C4 bomb was tied to her waist and abdomen. Delicate vase. We see that these things are thrown on the ground and no one wants them, and we plan to take them home for waste utilization. Lu Chuang explained. Are you kidding me? Matt's eyelids twitched, and he couldn't tell what was in the sack. This was clearly the treasure house of the hand and meeting. Not obsessed with this question, Matt turned his head towards Erica. Although he didn't know exactly what happened, based on what he knew about Erica, the other party definitely didn't do it voluntarily. Erica, are you okay? What do you think? Erica asked back, looking at Matt with resentful eyes. Yes, she really wasn't voluntary. At first, when Lu Chuang asked to take the sack by herself, Erica refused decisively. I am a top assassin, you actually let me work as a coolie to carry things for you, what a joke. Seeing Erica's firm attitude, Lu Chuang sighed, took out a C4 bomb from his clothes, tied it to Erica's body with a rope, and then sent her a sincere message again with the detonator. Request. For the sake of Lu Chuang's sincerity, Erica finally reluctantly agreed to Lu Chuang's request and left the collection room with the full sack and vase. Originally, Lu Chuang wanted Erica to take the chamber pot made of unknown jade, which was worth 4 million USD, but it was a pity that Erica would rather die than surrender. She would rather the bomb explode on the spot than touch the chamber pot. No way, Lu Chuang had to settle for the next best thing and let Erica take away the vase worth 3 million USD. Open black lens bracket. Thieves don't leave empty space, can be completed. Close black lens bracket. Unlock condition. Steal the treasures of the hand and society, a total of 30 million United States dollars, 3160W, 3000W. Title obtained. Super high school level thief. Including statues and vases, the total value of all treasures has exceeded 30 million United States dollars. However, the achievement task does not show a completed sign. According to Lu Chuang's guess, it may be because he is currently in the territory of the hand and society, and there is still a risk of the treasures being taken back, so these treasures are not really stolen by him. Threat can be regarded as the completion of the task. Stop talking, let's get out of here quickly. Lu Chuang couldn't help urging. Now he was holding a lot of valuable things, it would be troublesome if he was surrounded by those ninjas, but he didn't care. The main reason was that these treasures would be damaged and lose their value. Matt shook his head. It's too late, those ninjas are coming up the stairs, almost there. Let's fight out head on. Assassin Erica suggested. No one would be so stupid as to suggest taking an elevator. Thinking about it, everyone knows that the elevator is definitely the worst option. After all, the control of the elevator is in the hands of the enemy. They take the elevator without a screen to step into the prison on their own initiative. You are an assassin, can you stop thinking about frontal raids? With that said, Lu Chuang put the sack and statue in place, smiled at Matt and Erica and said, stand still, I'll take you a shortcut. Matt and Erica looked puzzled. The moment they saw the red ninja appear at the stairs, Lu Chuang suddenly pressed the red button in his hand. Boom, boom, boom. Several huge amounts of explosions sounded one after another on each floor. Matt and Erica felt a violent vibration from the soles of their feet, and a hole with 2 diameters was blown out on the ground not far away. Is this a pre-installed bomb? Matt and Erica were a little surprised. They didn't expect Lu Chuang to have this trick. Go, go, go. Lu Chuang had no hesitation, and took the lead in jumping down from the cave with the sack and the statue. Matt and Erica reacted quickly, and immediately jumped down the hole together. Although there was a little height between the floors, neither of them was an ordinary person. They landed steadily on the next floor. Immediately afterwards, they saw that Lu Chuang did not stop, but rushed to another hole in front, laughed and jumped down. Matt, Erica, I have to admit, this guy is really well prepared. Through the blasted hole, the three jumped all the way to the 14th floor of the building. There is no hole here, but they managed to bypass the red-clothed ninjas blocking the upper stairs, and immediately set off and rushed down the 14th floor to escape. However, those red-clothed ninjas did not give up on their pursuit. Some red-clothed ninjas jumped down from the hole, sticking to their backs and couldn't get rid of them. Not long after, 3 figures rushed out of the underground parking lot. The one running in the front was Erica holding a vase, followed by Matt carrying a sack. He was worried that Erica would not be able to carry so many things, so he offered to share the heaviest burden for Erica, the sack. Where did he still look like he was about to die from exhaustion before? Hey, man. As for Lu Chuang, he was carrying the statue in one hand and the sack in the other, and was at the back of the team. Lu Chuang looked back. Those ninjas in red were still persistently chasing after him. The dense red figures made Lu Chuang's scalp tingle. They were about to go all out. At this moment, the three people holding various things ran in front, and a group of red-clothed ninjas chased them behind. Fortunately, no passers-by passed by at this time, otherwise I don't know what kind of picture will be made up by my brain. Lu Chuang felt that it was not a problem to keep running like this, so he said to the two, I suggest that we run separately, otherwise our goal is too big. We can't get rid of so much. Hearing his words, Matt and Erica nodded decisively. Faced with such a situation, running separately is indeed a relatively good way. At least it can disperse most of the enemy's forces, so that at least their pressure is not so great. Okay, let's run to the front and separate directly, then look at my eyes and act. Matt, I feel you are making things difficult for me. After running for a certain distance, Lu Chuang cast a glance at the two. Without any warning, the three suddenly ran in different directions. Matt did not notice 0.2 Lu Chuang's eyes, so he kept a straight line running. The sudden change made the red-clothed ninjas who were following behind stunned. How to chase after the three paths? The next moment, they chased Lu Chuang's escape route without any hesitation. Lu Chuang turned his head and saw a large number of red-clothed ninjas running towards him, almost too scared to run. Don't just chase me, there are two people next door, go and chase them. Lu Chuang hurriedly stepped on his legs and ran away, so many people might overwhelm him. Catch this vile thief. Ba Ga Road. The thief is dead. With a messy sound, Lu Chuang, together with the red-clothed ninjas, quickly disappeared from the sight of Matt and Erica. Matt and Erica stopped before running a few steps and looked at each other. Erica said with a strange expression, it seems that the helper you invited is quite annoying. Well, I totally agree with that. On the streets of Hell's Kitchen, a crazy chase is going on. Lu Chuang ran wildly, followed by the ninja army behind him. Definitely, they didn't follow directly behind Lu Chuang's butt, but quickly shuttled across the roofs of the low buildings on both sides. Fortunately, their running posture is not a classic ninja run, otherwise Lu Chuang would have been caught up by them long ago. Even so, the distance between the two sides is constantly increasing. Lu Chuang can already feel that those ninjas are very close to him, and he may be caught up in a short time. Lu Chuang looked around, and then turned directly into an alley. At this moment, tearing air sounds hit one after another. Lu Chuang's pupils suddenly zoomed in, and the bullet time started directly. In slow motion, several ninja darts attacked his position from all directions. The adrenaline in Lu Chuang's body was secreting crazily, and his physical fitness soared instantly. He avoided most of the ninja darts with a strange posture, but the ninja darts were too dense. In order to protect the sack and statue in his hand, Lu Chuang resisted some of them. The Ninja 13 darts were directly inserted into his body. Suddenly, Lu Chuang felt a numbness from the wound, and his consciousness began to become drowsy. Darts are poisonous. This thought flashed through his mind. Lu Chuang immediately covered his wound, tremblingly put down the statue and the sack in his hand, piled them up in the corner, and then shouted angrily, "Ah, I was shot, ah, I collapsed." After all, he tried to stay as far away from the statue and the sack as possible, found a feng shui treasure and fell to the ground with his head raised. Seeing Lu Chuang fall, the ninjas in red jumped off the roof and immediately surrounded Lu Chuang, who fell to the ground. Although Lu Chuang's acting skills are a bit exaggerated, they did see that Lu Chuang was shot with several darts. From their point of view, Lu Chuang has completely lost his ability to resist at this moment. After all, their poison can easily stun a fierce man, beast, let alone human. We have caught the target, a ninja in red said softly. A man's voice came from the communicator hidden in the ear. Very well, you bring that damn thief back, and the rest of you will assist another group of teams to capture the other two. Clear. Just as the ninja in red finished speaking, Lu Chuang on the ground suddenly opened his eyes, and his figure suddenly exploded. In the astonished eyes of many red-clothed ninjas, a pair of finely crafted modified pistols appeared in Lu Chuang's hands, and the muzzle suddenly aimed at them and shot out dazzling flames. Bang, 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 bang. The speed of fire of the pistol was extremely fast, and it swept towards the surrounding red ninjas like a submachine gun. Before the nearest red ninjas could react, they were directly pierced through their heads by the golden bullets. In a moment, several red-clothed ninjas fell beside Lu Chuang. The ninjas in red who stood a little further away reacted quickly and immediately dropped smoke bombs on the ground, trying to block Lu Chuang's vision. Suddenly, the alley became filled with smoke. Lu Chuang and the surrounding red ninjas were enveloped in the smoke. However, the smoke did not hinder the actions of the ninjas in red. For these ninjas, this environment seemed to be conducive to their actions. They skillfully hid themselves in the smoke, and their shadowy figures quickly approached where Lu Chuang was, planning to launch a sneak attack on Lu Chuang in the smoke. Just as a ninja in red was about to approach, an arm holding a gun suddenly passed through the smoke, and the muzzle of the gun was aimed directly at his forehead. "Brother, do you want to buy it or hang it?" The figure of Lu Chuang appeared in front of him. He could directly see the souls of these ninjas. Even the dark environment and smoke did not affect him in any way. It's almost like there's no hiding. But the cautious movements of these ninjas made it easier for Lu Chuang to aim. As soon as the words fell, the muzzle of the gun burst into flames again. But Lu Chuang's movements did not stop, but he swung his arms quickly. The ninjas in red in the smoke instantly became moving targets. The companions fell one by one. In just a few seconds, more than a dozen figures fell backwards, leaving only one standing black figure in the smoke. As the smoke gradually dissipated, Lu Chuang, holding two guns, stood still, and the strong smell of blood radiated in the alley. Under the pitch-black environment, Lu Chuang's black mask seemed to blend into the surrounding environment. Under the hood, there were only a pair of looming eyes, and the pupils were zooming strangely, looking at the remaining red-clothed ninjas. Looking at Lu Chuang, who looked like a black god of death, even ninjas who had experienced many battles couldn't help but feel a little shaken in their hearts at this moment. This is not a battle, it is clearly a massacre. Lu Chuang took a step forward, like an evil villain, and said in a gloomy voice, "Sorry, you are already surrounded by me." Elsewhere, Matt and Erica are in a bind. Not long ago, seeing those red-clothed ninjas chasing in the direction of Lu Chuang, before the two could breathe a sigh of relief, Matt suddenly noticed that there were another group of red-clothed ninjas lurking nearby. Matt immediately reminded Erica that there was no Lu Chuang in the middle. The hunt for the ninja. As a result, when the group of ninjas passed by them, they suddenly turned their heads and looked at Matt's position at the same time. They can't be blamed for this. The fluorescent light on Matt's body is so dazzling that it's hard for them not to pay attention. Matt and Erica thought about this as well. They were silent for a while, then decisively dropped the things in their hands, and rushed directly to the group of red-clothed ninjas. It's just that, although their fighting power is not weak, the number of these ninjas completely crushed them, and Matt was injured. The two soon fell to the disadvantage and were beaten back by the ninjas. During the battle, in order to cover the injured Matt, Erica was accidentally hit by the blade of the red ninja a few times. What's worse, they found that the blade was actually mixed with toxin. Erica's face grew paler as time went by. In such a situation, let alone a battle, even the station is about to lose its stability. Realizing Erica's worsening state, Matt's mood almost sank to the bottom. The situation is not good. Hang on, Erica. Matt helped Erica run into a dark corner, and put her down against the wall. At the moment Erica's condition was very bad, and the blood vessels in her neck had begun to show a trace of black lines, which was a sign of poisoning. Although Matt's eyes couldn't see these, he could hear Erica's heart beating too fast, which was probably a sign of heart failure. I'm afraid Erica wouldn't last long. Time is running out, Erica must receive treatment as soon as possible. Whoosh! Just as Matt was about to act, he suddenly heard a tearing air sound coming from behind. Matt's complexion changed abruptly, subconsciously wanting to dodge. However, he suddenly realized that Erica was behind him, so he could only forcefully stop his figure and raise his arms to block in front of him. Accompanied by the sound of piercing into the flesh, a katana cut Matt's arm deeply, and blood flowed out immediately. Fortunately, Matt's daredevil battle suit is made of special materials, and this katana did not directly cut off his arm, but caused a serious injury. Matt endured the pain, and immediately threw a metal stick towards the red ninja who was attacking him. The iron chain at the end was thrown out instantly, and directly wrapped around the neck of the red ninja, and he grabbed the iron chain and pulled it hard until the ninja suffocated and fainted before letting go. Before Matt could catch his breath, he saw more than a dozen masked figures in red clothes appearing around, all holding katana in their hands, surrounding him and Erika, blocking all escape routes. Faced with such a posture, not to mention that Matt is injured now, even in his peak state, it is difficult for him to deal with so many ninjas alone, and it is even more impossible to leave with a comatose Erika. Perceiving the approaching ninja in red, Matt's forehead kept breaking out in cold sweat, and he could feel that his body was getting weaker. It was obvious that the katana was also mixed with toxin. Take them away. The ninja in red looked at Matt indifferently. Matt clenched his fists tightly, his expression became resolute. He planned to make a final resistance before the poison had fully diffused and he still had fighting power, so that they would have a glimmer of hope of escaping. At this time, these red ninjas were less than 5 meters away from him. Matt's whole body tensed instantly, and he was about to rush towards the red-clothed ninja in front of him. Pissed. Suddenly, the head of a ninja in red exploded, and scarlet plasma bloomed in midair like a fountain. With inertia, the body of the red ninja slowly fell on its head. The sudden change surprised Matt and the ninjas. Seeing the death of their companions, the ninjas in red immediately realized that there was a sniper lurking nearby. There was no need to remind them. All the ninjas immediately threw smoke bombs to hide themselves, and even Matt beside him was implicated in the smoke. However, the hidden snipers did not suffer because of this. Pissed, pissed, pissed. In the smoke, the sound of the red-clothed ninja being headshot rang out continuously, almost without any pause, as if each shot could hit a red-clothed ninja with incomparable precision, and the obstruction of the smoke did not hinder the sniper at all. However, what is even more strange is that there are ninjas in red hiding behind the bunker, and they will be shot in the head inexplicably. To the death, they did not understand where the bullets came from. No matter how they hide, there are still ninjas who are still being shot. With such unpredictable bullet trajectories, the rest of the ninjas in red couldn't find the sniper's position at all. Even if they wanted to stop the sniper, they couldn't do it. They could only watch their companions fall one by one. This kind of waiting to die, the sense of desperation broke them down. But the snipers didn't care what they thought, and harvested the ecology of the rest of the ninjas leisurely. In less than 20 seconds, broken corpses were scattered in a pool of blood on the ground. Looking around, none of the corpses was complete. All of them had their heads blown off precisely. The pool of blood on the ground reflected a disgusting scarlet luster, and a pungent bloody smell gradually permeated the air. Perceiving the scene of such a flesh and blood slaughterhouse, Matt's face was very ugly, and he guarded his surroundings vigilantly. Although the secret sniper killed all the red-clothed ninjas, he didn't know the identity of the other party, and he couldn't be sure what the other party's purpose was for the time being. Not long after, he heard the sound of an engine, followed by a familiar voice. "Lawyer Ma, are you okay? You look very bad." Lu Chuang parked in front of Matt on a motorcycle with a sniper rifle in his hand. Obviously he was the sniper in the dark. "It's you?" Matt asked in shock. Although he has met Lu Chuang several times, he has never seen Lu Chuang's true strength. The only time he fought against each other is not to be mentioned. Matt hopes to seal up that memory forever. Anyway, this was the first time Matt saw Lu Chuang take a shot. Although Lu Chuang sniped these red ninjas in secret, Matt's perception is so sensitive. He knew exactly how these ninjas in red were slaughtered. The marksmanship that violated the laws of science was simply beyond imagination. Matt put himself into it from another angle, but he found that he had no way to deal with it. In the long-distance situation, he probably won't end up any better than these red-clothed ninjas. After all, that kind of marksmanship is really hard to guard against. Lu Chuang raised his eyebrows. "That's right, who else but me?" Matt perceived that the statue and the sack were placed on the back seat of the motorcycle by Lu Chuang, and it seemed that there was not much damage. He said with a complicated expression, "So, those ninjas who hunted you have been killed by you?" "Yes, surrounded by me alone." Lu Chuang nodded. After getting rid of those ninjas in red, Lu Chuang found his motorcycle and drove over. He was not worried that he would not find Matt's location, because he installed a locator in the communicator, so he could locate Matt at any time. Special location. Hearing Lu Chuang's words, Matt felt a little complicated. In the case of being hunted down, Lu Chuang can still easily deal with so many red ninjas, which is far stronger than he imagined. At this moment, Matt suddenly felt a sense of weakness, and fell to the ground uncontrollably. Get money Zhao too. Lu Chuang quickly got out of the car to check. Lawyer Ma, are you injured? Matt trembled all over, gritted his teeth and said, there is poison on their weapons, Erica and I are both poisoned, don't worry about me, send Erica to the hospital, she will not be able to hold on anymore. Are you poisoned? Lu Chuang narrowed his eyes slightly, looked at the dark spot of Matt and Erica's soul, and said relaxedly, say it earlier, there is no need to go to the hospital for this injury. As he said that, Lu Chuang threw out 2 balls of mana directly, injecting the soul weight of Matt and Erica. Matt couldn't see mana, but he could feel that his body was recovering rapidly, and the severe pain from the original wound was also relieved until it disappeared completely. At the same time, he could hear Erica's heart rate gradually returning to normal, no longer affected by the toxin. Matt asked in disbelief, what is this? I've said it a long time ago, I'm a priest, and I know a little bit about magic. Under Lu Chuang's mana, all the toxins remaining in Matt and Erica's bodies have been removed, and even the wounds have a tendency to heal. After this period of research, Lu Chuang found that his mana tended to be more soul-oriented. Not only could he directly see the soul, but he could even purify the filth of the soul, and it had a restraining effect on dark creatures like vampires. Lu Chuang suspects that the ability to take the initiative to confide in people may also be derived from his mana. Lu Chuang thought about it carefully. Aren't these skills the supporting skills of priests? However, shouldn't the priest still have the holy light? Where did his holy light go? Lu Chuang touched his chin, tentatively controlling the flow of mana to his body. With his control, the mana gradually radiated from his body, but the mana did not dissipate because of this, but wrapped Lu Chuang's whole body, like a layer of invisible armor covering him. Lu Chuang didn't notice, but Matt in front of him suddenly opened his eyes wide and looked at him in disbelief. In Matt's eyes, Lu Chuang became blurred at this moment, and a group of white shadows could be faintly seen, exuding a holy halo, and his whole body was filled with a strong aura of light. Lu Chuang's appearance was completely unclear, but Matt could inexplicably feel that the other party's expression was full of pity, piety and faith. Yes, Matt saw it with his own eyes. As if his eyes had healed, he saw Lu Chuang like this. This is holy light. Matt couldn't believe it, and for some reason, the word came naturally to his mind. At this time, Lu Chuang also noticed his own strangeness, mainly because he found that the surrounding environment became particularly bright. When he looked down, he saw that he was emitting 180 degrees of light, which was much brighter than Matt in front of him. Even brighter. Is this the holy light? Lu Chuang, who discovered this, was excited at the time. It turns out that he also has holy light. Seeing Matt's expression, Lu Chuang smiled triumphantly. Be stupid, let's see if you dare to question my priesthood in the future. Now that I even have the holy light, even if God comes, I must be a priest. Lu Chuang felt that he had to give Matt something more shocking, so that the other party would be convinced. Ever since, Matt saw the blurred shadow of Lu Chuang, and the halo on his body began to move, slowly gathering towards his head. At the moment Matt's heart was in shock, so his sight also subconsciously followed the movement of the halo, staring at Lu Chuang's head. Next moment, the mana gathered in Lu Chuang's head suddenly exploded. All halo effects are instantly transformed into a strong light, which is extremely dazzling like a flash bomb. Well, Matt immediately covered his eyes in pain. He never thought that he, a blind man, could experience the feeling of being blind again in his lifetime. What a crime. At the moment, Lu Chuang's head was so dazzling that he couldn't look directly at it, as if a high-power flashlight had hit his head. In this situation, how could Matt feel any holiness or piety? He turned around quickly did not dare to look at Lu Chuang again, for fear that his eyes would be blinded again. Seeing Matt's reaction, Lu Chuang scratched his head in doubt. This reaction is not right. Isn't the Lord Buddha in Journey to the West all acting like this? With a halo hanging on his head, he looks very compelling. At this time, he shouldn't be shocked, thinking that I am the spokesperson of God in the world talent right. Lu Chuang prepared all the lines, the key is that Matt didn't cooperate. Well, at this moment, Erica suddenly moved. The toxins in her body had been completely removed, and the danger to her life was eliminated, so she woke up. Turns out, when she opened her eyes, she saw the sun. Ah, my eyes. Lu Chuang. So, He solved all these ninjas by himself. Perceiving the broken corpses all over the floor, Matt nodded with a complicated expression. He has his own set of principles. As a Catholic and a lawyer, he believes that he is not qualified to judge the lives of others, so he has set himself the principle of never killing people. And Lu Chuang's ruthless style of acting obviously completely conflicted with his principles. However, Lu Chuang saved his and Erica's lives just now, and now he has no position to say anything. After seeing Matt nodding, Erica glanced at Lu Chuang in surprise, but she didn't realize that the helper Matt invited was so powerful that he wiped out the entire ninja team with just one person. Reminiscent of the picture she saw just after waking up, Erica felt a little suspicious, but she didn't say anything. "Since I escaped, shouldn't you help me untie this?" Erica pointed to the bomb that was still tied to her body. She didn't remove the bomb during the whole process, because she was worried that the bomb would explode directly when it was removed. After all, this kind of explosion setting is not uncommon. "Don't worry about it, where are my things?" Lu Chuang looked around, but didn't find his sack and vase. At the moment Lu Chuang has turned off the special effect of the holy light, and he found that when he turned on the special effect of the holy light, the external mana was also starting to be consumed crazily, and his mana recovery speed couldn't keep up at all, and after Matt and under Erica's strong opposition, he could only turn off the special effects of the holy light. "Matt and I have thrown it away before, and it should still be around now." Threatened by bombs, Erica walks away exhausted. BDDH. After a while, she came back with a sack and a vase, and said, "It seems that this vase is very strong. I threw it on the ground before the battle, and there was no sign of breaking it." "What the hell?" Lu Chuang quickly checked the vase with the game system, and he was relieved when he found that the value had not decreased. "This vase is worth 3 million United States dollars. If it is damaged, his achievement mission will be completely ruined, and he doesn't want to take the risk to go back to that building again. Can we deactivate the bomb now?" "Oh, no problem." Lu Chuang came back to his senses, grabbed the bomb on Erica's body, and pulled it hard to dismantle it. "Erica, okay, give me the things, and then we will go back to our respective houses and find our mothers." Although Erica felt a little uncomfortable, she was still going to hand over the sack into Lu Chuang. However, at the moment, she suddenly noticed that the ninja in red, who had been stunned by Madeler at first, woke up and stood up slowly behind Lu Chuang. "Careful." Erica was shocked, and immediately picked up the vase in her hand and smashed it down. Clang! As the red-clothed ninja fell down again, the vase shattered into countless pieces. After finishing off the ninja in red, Erica said to Lu Chuang with a cold face, "You don't need to thank me, you saved me twice, now it's offset once, and I still owe you a favor." Lu Chuang, looking at the fragments of vases all over the floor, his breathing suddenly became rapid. "Thieves don't leave empty space," can be completed. Unlock condition. Steal the treasures of the hand and society, a total of 30 million United States dollars, 2860W, 3000W. Title obtained. Super high school level thief. Without the vase, the total value dropped below 30 million in an instant. "Thank you. Now I can't wait to kill you." Lu Chuang's eyes were red. The completion of the achievement task was just in front of him, but he was manipulated by Erica's mastery, and his achievement task was directly wiped out. In anger, Lu Chuang forgot to turn off the game system, just in time to scout Erica in front of him. Open black lens bracket. Target meets the conditions. Value, 10 million United States dollars. Close black lens bracket. Lu Chuang was stunned for a moment. Wait, Erica was defeated by the hand and the society and brought back, which means that Erica is about the same as the trophy of the 1000-piece society. And Erica was originally a top assassin, at least much stronger than those red-clothed ninjas, so she was considered a treasure no matter what. As for the value of assassins, Mu Duo said. Looking at Erica in front of him, Lu Chuang grinned and said cheerfully, "Anyway, if you have time, why don't you return the favor on the spot?" Erica raised her brows and asked in confusion, "Now, how can I pay back?" "It's very simple, just help me carry this to the motorcycle," Lu Chuang said as he picked up the sack. Hearing this, Erica instantly understood. Lu Chuang didn't want to owe others favors, so he deliberately used this method to offset them. "I really didn't see it, this guy actually has such a gentleman's side." Erica was very surprised. she suddenly felt that Lu Chuang was quite a good person, and said, "Well, since you want to do this, don't regret it." Erica grabbed the sack and walked to the motorcycle, and thoughtfully fixed the sack with the rope on her body. However, just as she was about to turn around and say something, she saw a tranquilizer gun suddenly appearing in Lu Chuang's hand, and shot directly at her. Erica rolled her eyes and fell into a coma for the third time. Our favor cancels out. Lu Chuang hugged Erica, who was about to fall, and threw her onto the motorcycle, then sat in the driver's seat, turned the accelerator suddenly and drove the motorcycle away. Only to hear Lu Chuang's voice floating from a distance. "Lawyer Ma, borrow it from your ex-girlfriend and return it to you when you run out." Matt. Chapter 91. Thieves Don't Leave Empty Space, can be completed. Unlock condition. Steal the treasures of the hand and society, a total of 30 million United States dollars, 3860W, 3000W. Title obtained. Super High School Level Thief. Open black lens bracket. Whether to unlock the title, close black lens bracket. The moment Lu Chuang rode a motorcycle and left Hell's Kitchen, the game system suddenly popped up. With Erica, a priceless treasure, the achievement task was completed without accident. Lu Chuang immediately unlocked a new super high school level talent. Open black lens bracket. Unlock successfully, close black lens bracket. Title: The Thief of the Super High School Level. Explanation: It is impossible to work part-time, and it is impossible to work part-time in this life. Open black lens bracket feature. Master key. Close black lens bracket. Thief. This should be the talent of a thief. Lu Chuang looked at the characteristics of Super High School Level Thief, and thought suspiciously, but where do I get my master key? Thinking of this, Lu Chuang tentatively clicked on the feature column, and a line of text popped up. Master key. Can open any lock or password. The trigger condition is to touch it with your hand. It turned out to be a skill. However, now Lu Chuang doesn't have much chance to experiment with this skill. Lu Chuang found a place to stop the motorcycle, put Erica down, and then threw a ball of mana to Erica. After all, the other party was dressed so coolly, and the slits of the dress were all open to the big pants. If you leave it here and leave it alone, it is guaranteed that Matt will be so green that he will panic the next day. Seeing Erica showing signs of waking up, Lu Chuang threw the communicator on Erica and drove away on a motorcycle. Is this your new decoration? The next day, little Peter asked curiously, pointing to the ancient statues in the corridor. No, it was given to me by some kind neon people. Lu Chuang had a depressed expression on his face. Originally, he wanted to sell these items to see if he could get some money back. In the end, the weasel told him the unfortunate news that it is very difficult to sell these items. To find a buyer, you have to go to a place like an auction, but the problem is that he stole these items. There will definitely be news over there, and it will be troublesome to track down his true identity by then. Lu Chuang had no choice but to take home the statue he guarded all night as an ornament, and he threw the 2 sacks into the basement. Let's not talk about it. Little Peter, your Aunt May will be coming home very late today. She specially called to ask me to take care of you, so you don't have to go home for dinner tonight. I will take you out to eat something good. Very good. Little Peter jumped up happily, chattering and saying, "Can we eat Mexican chicken tacos together? I have wanted to eat it for a long time, but Aunt May has always refused to let me eat it, saying that junk food is unhealthy. In fact, I have studied it. The ingredients of the Mexican chicken wrap are obviously vegetables and chicken. How could it be unhealthy?" After so many days of getting along, the two have long been very familiar with each other. In front of Lu Chuang, little Peter has completely let go of his temper, and he can faintly see the potential for chatterbox. We're skipping the chicken tacos this time. Lu Chuang put his arms around little Peter's neck, and said cheerfully, "What's so delicious about that? This time I will take you to eat some more delicious food. I guarantee you have never tasted it before." Delicious, this thing called hot pot is simply amazing. Little Peter used chopsticks very unskillfully, eating the fat beef in the dipping sauce, and couldn't stop praising in a vague way. At the moment, Lu Chuang and little Peter were sitting in a hot pot restaurant, and in front of them was a mandarin duck pot, one red and one white, forming a sharp contrast. Little Peter kept taking food out of the clear soup, and it was delicious. Definitely, I have been looking for this hot pot restaurant for a long time before I found it. It is not so easy to find an authentic hot pot restaurant. Lu Chuang was also eating, but he fished out the food from the fresh and spicy red soup. Seeing Lu Chuang's actions, little Peter asked curiously, "Isn't it spicy?" Originally, little Peter also wanted to taste the taste of the red soup, but seeing the terrible red color in the pot, he didn't dare to try it. Lu Chuang shook his head. "Definitely not spicy, don't look at so many peppers in it, it's just like that, and hot pot with a little bit of spiciness is the real hot pot, try it if you don't believe me, you will fall in love with it kind of taste." Little Peter hesitated, picked up a piece of meat from the red soup and put it in his mouth. Hiss! Little Peter's eyes were round, and he opened his mouth to suck in cold air, looking as if he was so hot. So spicy. Little Peter blushed so hot that he quickly grabbed the Happy Fat House water next to him and drank it. Lu Chuang said enthusiastically, "Don't worry, it won't be spicy after eating a few times." After drinking the Happy Fat House water, little Peter obviously got better. Although it was quite spicy, he felt that the taste was a bit addictive, so he moved his chopsticks hesitantly and continued to fish out food from the red soup. After a few times, little Peter gradually got used to the spicy taste, and followed Lu Chuang to put food in the red soup. Lu Chuang wanted to remind little Peter not to eat so much, or you will cry when you go to the bathroom the next day. But seeing little Peter eating so happily, Lu Chuang didn't want to disturb his interest, and just silently poured food into the red soup without stopping. Half an hour later, Lu Chuang and little Peter walked out of the hot pot restaurant. Little Peter rubbed his belly and said, "I'm so full, but it's really delicious. Can we come over to eat next time?" "No problem, I'll bring you over to eat after you finish brushing up all the exercises at home." Hearing Lu Chuang's words, little Peter suddenly felt motivated. Decided, for the sake of hot pot, he went back and brushed up the pile of habits as soon as possible. Little Peter couldn't wait to say, "Then let's go back quickly, I'm going to do 4 caddies of exercises this week." "Don't worry, just take a walk to digest after eating." Boom! The two were walking on the street. Before Lu Chuang finished speaking, the iron door of the apartment not far away suddenly broke open, and a figure that was familiar to Lu Chuang rushed out from inside. Seeing the iconic dark green hair, Lu Chuang raised his eyebrows. "Green elves. That person is Lorna." At the moment Lorna looked nervous, his hands were shining with dazzling green light, looking around as if looking for something, but when he heard a familiar voice behind him, he subconsciously turned his head and looked over. "It's you." Lorna was very surprised, she never thought that she would meet Lu Chuang here. But soon Lorna came to her senses and ran to Lu Chuang eagerly. "It's too late to explain, someone is chasing me from behind, please, help me." After finishing speaking, she gritted her teeth and immediately ran into the alley next to her, hiding herself behind the trash can. Lu Chuang realized instantly, and patted the little Peter who hadn't recovered from his composure. "Little Peter, it's time to test your acting skills." All along, she ran outside, "Run after her. Be careful, that mutant can control metal." From the broken door of the apartment, several figures with guns ran out. As soon as they walked out of the apartment, they saw Lu Chuang and little Peter standing on the street. They seemed to be chatting, and they seemed to be very happy. They stepped forward and interrupted the two of them. The leading bald man took out an ID from his pocket and asked seriously, "I am Agent Turner. We are hunting down a fugitive now. Please cooperate with us. Investigation." Without waiting for the two to speak, Agent Turner stuffed the ID back into his pocket and continued, "Did you see a girl running past just now, with green hair, about 18 years old?" Hearing this, Lu Chuang and little Peter looked at each other, then shook their heads. "Are you sure?" Agent Turner frowned. "They chased after that mutant, and they were sure that the other party definitely escaped from here. And there is so little traffic on the street here, normally it is difficult for someone to pass by without being noticed, and that mutant has such obvious features, how could the two of them not notice?" Agent Turner instinctively sensed that there was something wrong with the two of them, stared at them and said, "I think I need to remind you that the fugitive is a very dangerous mutant, and she has already shot and hurt several innocent civilians. I'd better think about it before answering." "So it's mutant, you should have said earlier." Lu Chuang patted his thigh, his expression suddenly enlightened. "Then I may have seen it." "Possible." Agent Turner immediately grasped the point, and couldn't help wondering, why is it possible? Lu Chuang said seriously. Listen to me, the situation is like this. I did see a green figure running out of it just now, and I also saw her hands shining with green light. Next, and guess what I saw? Agent Turner's face darkened suddenly. Why is there still a questioning session here? Say it. Agent Turner gritted his teeth. Seeing Agent Turner not cooperating, Lu Chuang didn't get angry, and told vividly, the next thing I saw was that green figure waving his hand, and suddenly a metal broom flew towards her, and she sat on her buttocks. After falling down, it flew up directly on the broomstick, making a strange and eerie cry. It probably flew away in that direction. Lu Chuang pointed in a random direction, and sighed. Good guy, if you didn't say she was a mutant, I thought I met a witch in a fairy tale. I'll just say where the green hair came from. After listening to Lu Chuang's description, Agent Turner frowned. As far as he knows, that mutant does have the ability to manipulate metal, and it's not surprising that he can control a metal broom for flight. It's just that he always feels weird. Agent Turner didn't believe Lu Chuang directly. Out of prudence, he looked at the little Peter next to him. Little friend, tell uncle, what exactly did you see just now? While speaking, the inner agent stared straight at little Peter. This is the simplest interrogation technique, to exert constant pressure on the other party. Especially for a child of Peter's age, as long as he exerts a little pressure, little Peter will definitely be unable to bear the pressure and reveal his flaws, and he can easily tell whether the child is lying or not. As Agent Turner expected, under his gaze, little Peter's expression became extremely tense. So little Peter said, Abba, Abba, Abba. Agent Turner. Lu Chuang on the side explained. Sorry, my younger brother has been mentally handicapped since he was a child and can't speak. Agent Turner was stunned immediately, and blurted out, obviously I saw you guys chatting just now. Lu Chuang spread his hands helplessly. Detective, I think you have misunderstood. Chatting is chatting, dumb is dumb, these are two concepts, please don't confuse them. You say yes, little Peter. Ababa. Little Peter nodded. Lu Chuang followed the translator and said, my brother said that I was very correct. Where did this wonderful brother come from? Agent Turner's thoughts were completely confused by the two, and then he remembered that he was hunting the mutant. Seeing that he couldn't get any information, Agent Turner didn't waste any more time on the two of them, and picked up the walkie-talkie on his shoulder. The target goes to the direction of 41st Street, and arranges for drones to search the air. Note that the target has the ability to manipulate metal, allowing necessary measures to be taken. The target code name is Witch. Lorna, who was eavesdropping in the dark, suddenly clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. Agent Turner didn't know that a dangerous word appeared on his forehead. After arranging the operation, he ignored Lu Chuang and little Peter, the wonderful brothers, and left with the other agents in the direction Lu Chuang pointed. Look for the witch on the broomstick. After Agent Turner and the others left, Lorna came out from behind the trash can. Lorna looked at Lu Chuang and pursed her lips and said, thanks, without you, I might have been arrested by them. Are they Sentry Secret Service agents? Lu Chuang asked. How do you know? As it says, Sentry Secret Service Division. Lu Chuang took out a certificate, which was that of Agent Turner, with a special symbol printed on the corner. Seeing this, little Peter said excitedly, Ababa. Lorna glanced at little Peter with some sympathy. The poor child can't speak at such a young age. Speak English. The corner of Lu Chuang's mouth twitched. Did this little guy get into the drama too much? He really couldn't speak at all. The little Peter coughed a few times, adjusted his malfunctioning language system, and asked excitedly, I saw that the bald man put the ID in his pocket. How did you do it? You can do it with hard work, said Lu Chuang, who has a super high school level thief. Can I learn? Lu Chuang stroked little Peter's dog's head, and raised 5 fingers with a smile. Definitely yes, you only need this number, 50. Little Peter swallowed, and quickly shook his head. 50 is too much, I will die, how about this number? As he spoke, little Peter raised a finger. Little Peter, you can't do big things by worrying about everything, at least this number. Lu Chuang raised 4 fingers. Little Peter resolutely raised 2 fingers. 20, if it doesn't work, forget it. Okay, deal, 20 is 20. Lu Chuang hooked up with Peter Jr., and a deal was struck in an instant. Lorna, who watched the whole process, was in a daze. She couldn't understand what kind of riddle these two people were talking about. Lorna couldn't help asking, "What are you talking about? Is it USD 0.0? Little Peter explained. "It's not money, we're talking about exercises, and I need to finish so many exercises." "So that's how it is." Lorna understood. It seems that Lu Chuang used this method to improve the child's knowledge level. She thought it was good to do so, so she said, "As 22 little. I think we can add a little more." Hearing her words, little Peter's eyes widened instantly, and he looked at Lorna with an expression of "Are you a devil?" Lu Chuang's eyes were strange. "I suddenly feel that the code name which is quite suitable for you." Seeing their reactions, Lorna felt something was wrong and asked, "What, isn't it just 20 exercises?" Lu Chuang curled his lips in disdain. "Who told you that there are 20 exercises? Our custom here, the exercises are usually calculated by Catty." Lorna. To avoid those Sentry Secret Service to get back, Lu Chuang took Lorna to his home. As for little Peter, he wanted to stay here to listen to gossip, but Lu Chuang drove him home. At the moment Lorna sat on the sofa, his eyes were a little empty, and he didn't know what he was thinking. As guests, Lu Chuang made Lorna a glass of Bing Kuo Luo. Unscrew the bottle, pour Coke into the cup, then add ice cubes and lemon. This cup is ready for the ice cube that sells for at least 40 yuan in high-end Michelin restaurants. Lu Chuang sat across from Lorna, then picked up the glass of freshly brewed water. "Savor it carefully." "Ha, cool." Lu Chuang savored Bing Kuo Luo unhurriedly, without any intention of opening his mouth. As time passed, Lorna finally couldn't sit still after Lu Chuang drank 2 glasses of Bing Kuo in a row. The main reason was that Lu Chuang made strange noises while drinking Bing Kuo, which made her feel a little stuttering up. Lorna couldn't help but said, "Don't you have anything to ask?" "Ask what?" Lu Chuang blinked 13 times. "Like. Why did the Sentry Secret Service arrest me?" "Oh, why did the Sentry Secret Service arrest you?" Lorna was a little tired, and couldn't talk any more this day. Lu Chuang said cheerfully, "To be honest, I'm also quite curious, what happened to you, and why you became a fugitive all of a sudden." Lorna was silent for a while, and said in a low voice, "Because I used the ability in public, several people were injured in the process. Many people saw it at the time, and the news quickly spread to the Sentry Secret Service. Afterwards, agents from the Sentry Secret Service found my temporary residence and wanted to arrest me on charges of intentionally injuring others. You have seen the following things. I escaped from their clutches." Quote, "I see. No wonder that bald man said you were very dangerous." Lu Chuang knows the Sentry Secret Service, which is an agency specially set up by the federal government for mutants to deal with mutant-related incidents, and their main job is to find mutants that violate the law. To put it simply, it is the special police in the eyes of mutant. It's all the fault of those scavengers. As if thinking of something angry, Lorna gritted her teeth and said, "It's fine that they were marching against mutant on the street, but they actually wanted to attack a passing mutant child. I couldn't stand it before I stopped them, but they said the other way around. I meant to hurt them, those bloody bastards." The Cleaner is a civil organization, and the organization is full of a group of guys who oppose mutant. They think that all the misfortunes in their lives are caused by mutant, and they have the most extreme malice against mutant. In fact, it is actually a group of frustrated people at the bottom, relying on the obvious provisions of the Mutant Act, to provoke mutant unscrupulously. As long as mutant dares to resist them, they will recruit the Sentry Secret Service. Crowds are disgusting. But there is no way, because mutants' social status is low. If a certain group in America suffered from this kind of crime, they would not be able to breathe for a long time, so I will directly start the $0 purchase mode without forcing you too much. After listening to Lorna's words, Lu Chuang basically understood. Obviously, Lorna tried to save someone but was implicated instead. Lu Chuang snapped his fingers. "So, now you can't go home." "Originally, I lived with my aunt, but now that this happened, I can no longer go back. The Sentry Secret Service can find out my home address, and they will definitely monitor it nearby." Lorna's eyes were a little dim. After all, this kind of thing is uncomfortable for anyone, because he became a fugitive when he rescued someone. This result is really ironic. "Since you can't go home, what are your plans next?" "I don't know either." Lorna blankly pinched a card in her pocket, with the number John had left on it. In fact, she still has a way out, which is to join the Mutant Underground organization and seek the help of John and other compatriots. But this means that in the future, she will follow the philosophy of the Mutant Underground organization to do things and fight for those mutant compatriots who are persecuted. But is this kind of life really what she wants? Lu Chuang looked at Lorna, and suddenly said, "How about this, you stay here." Stay here. Lorna was slightly taken aback. She didn't expect Lu Chuang to say that. Yes, anyway, you don't have a place to go now. I still have a few vacant rooms in my house. You can live in any room you want, Lu Chuang said indifferently. Lorna hesitated. Aren't you afraid that I'm a fugitive and implicate you? Lu Chuang said decisively, it's okay. I will say that I was coerced by you. I am a powerless ordinary person who was threatened by mutant. It is normal not to dare to resist. Lorna was silent. She watched Lu Chuang tear up a few vampires with her own eyes before. You call this a hand without calendar? However, Lu Chuang's proposal of really moved Lorna a little bit. After all, she was also a girl, and she had experienced such a catastrophe in such a short period of time, so that her nerves were always in a state of tension, and all aspects of things almost completely crushed her. Rather than thinking carefully and starting to plan for her own future, Lorna now wants to find a quiet place to stay, without the disturbance of those Sentry Secret Service, and does not need to think about the troubles of the Mutant Underground organization. Just like this, quietly stay in the corner and ease your inner anxiety. For Lu Chuang, Lorna also knows a lot. Although the personality is very unreliable, but generally a trustworthy person, Lorna would rather stay at a friend's house than the completely unfamiliar Mutant Underground organization. Lorna said with some hesitation. But, I don't have any money with me. Lu Chuang smiled and said, don't worry, I won't charge you rent, you just need to help me with some things. What's the matter? It's like this, I still lack a housekeeping aunt at home, wash the toilet and so on, so you know. Lorna, she suddenly felt that joining the Mutant Underground organization was also a good choice. Little Peter, let me introduce you. The next day, Lu Chuang pointed to the expressionless Lorna, and said to little Peter, this is Lorna, the new housekeeper aunt, and she will be responsible for cleaning from now on. Hello, I'm Peter Parker. Little Peter said politely. Lorna nodded. Lorna Dan. After the two introduced each other, Lu Chuang continued, if you encounter any problems, you can ask Lorna for help. Definitely, let's not worry about learning problems. Lorna's cultural level is limited, so don't make things difficult for others. Hearing his words, Lorna was not happy at the time. Hey, although I dropped out of school because of some things, I have finished my high school courses anyway, so it shouldn't be difficult for me to be a primary school student. Lu Chuang didn't explain, and turned to look at little Peter. How is the research progress of the super battle suit recently? Speaking of this, little Peter was dejected. I have basically figured out the mechanical structure, and now I lack hands-on practice. It would be best to disassemble the steel armor for research, but I am worried that doing so may destroy the steel armor. Internal mechanics. Hearing their conversation, Lorna was stunned. Have elementary school students started to study steel armor? Coincidentally, we happen to have a metal expert here, let her take a look for you. After speaking, Lu Chuang led little Peter and him to the garage. Pushing open the door, the interior scene was immediately revealed. Lorna's eyes fell directly on the steel armor in the center of the garage. After all, the shape of the Mark I was so conspicuous that it was hard not to be noticed by her. As this, Iron Man, Lorna was stunned. She also knew that Iron Man was very popular these days. The steel armor in front of her was actually somewhat similar to Iron Man's steel armor. She looked at Lu Chuang in surprise. Where did you get this? Little Peter raised his hand and couldn't wait to say, Tony Stark gave it to me. He hoped that I could make a super battle suit and hit him on the ground. Tony Stark has this weird hobby. Lorna couldn't figure it out. Maybe rich people have special hobbies. Lorna suddenly noticed something was wrong. Wait, you guys are right. Are you sure Tony Stark asked Peter to make a super battle suit, not you? Definitely. Don't look at Peter's young age, he is very smart. Lu Chuang said to little Peter, tell me, what are you going to do next? I saw little Peter sitting in front of the computer, typing on the keyboard skillfully, and the design drawings of the steel armor were displayed on the desktop. Immediately afterwards, little Peter said quickly. First of all, I plan to disassemble the mechanical arm of the steel armor and check the internal mechanical mechanism. The power system is a problem that needs to be overcome. If possible, it is best to study the inertial damper and life support system, which are the most important safety issues related to the driver. Without the support of these technologies, the super battle suit produced cannot guarantee the safety of the driver. Safety, and there is. Listening to the various technical terms that kept popping out of Peter's mouth when she was a child, Luna's complexion became more and more rigid. Because she found that she couldn't understand many terms, let alone the technical issues involved. After all, most of her electives in high school were liberal arts, and this kind of science knowledge was simply difficult for her. Seeing Lorna stunned in place, Lu Chuang patted her on the shoulder and comforted her. Did you suddenly feel like a waste? Don't doubt it, at least your judgment is correct. Lorna, I really appreciate your reassurance. In fact, little Peter's learning progress has been able to catch up with the average college students. The main reason is that little Peter studies the design drawings of steel armor every day, and then learns relevant knowledge in a targeted manner. Among other things, mechanics is definitely the field that little Peter is best at present. Definitely, little Peter's theoretical knowledge is still far from enough, and he can barely recognize some technical terms and mechanical structures. There is still a long way to go before making a super battle suit. However, these theoretical knowledge alone are enough to shock Lorna, a scumbag. Some people finish high school because they're old enough, and some people finish high school because that's all there is to it. Okay, just tell me how to dismantle it and let Lorna assist you. Lu Chuang interrupted the chattering little Peter, and let the other party continue talking until it was dark. Little Peter pointed to the arm part of Mark I. From here, you have to take it off completely. You must be careful in the process. This pair of steel armor is already very damaged. If it is damaged, there is no way to repair it. Lu Chuang made a gesture of no problem, and then elbowed Lorna. Come on, green elf, it's up to you. Lorna regained her composure and said angrily, I told you, don't call me this nickname. As she said this, her hands suddenly shone with green light. I saw the steel armor parts of Mark I slowly decomposing and floating in midair as if being pulled by some kind, and then the whole steel mechanical arm came off the Mark I intact and placed it on the workbench. The process takes less than 5 seconds. Seeing such a miraculous scene, little Peter was stunned. Looking at Lorna's dark green hair, combined with what he saw last night, little Peter seemed to think of something, and exclaimed, I know you, the witch on YouTube. Quote. She decided that she must give herself a code name as soon as possible, before the name Wangpo completely became her code name. Lu Chuang patted little Peter on the shoulder. Little Peter, Lorna will be your assistant from now on. She will help you to disassemble or assemble the steel armor. When I am not at home, you can ask Lorna to give you just open the door. Okay, you can use my workshop as you like, remember not to touch those dangerous weapons. Little Peter said excitedly. It's so cool, the legendary witch is actually my assistant. Little Peter, look at how many people have helped you. The goal of surpassing Tony Stark is just around the corner, so you have to redouble your studies and make a super battle suit as soon as possible. You can't live up to the expectations of so many people. Lu Chuang never will pass up any chance to infuse chicken stock. I'm going to redouble my studies. Okay, since you have said so, let's double the exercises today. Seeing the scene where little Peter was being fooled by Lu Chuang, Lorna suddenly understood that little Peter was Lu Chuang's toolman. What a poor kid. Seeing that little Peter was about to be limp, Lorna couldn't help shaking her head. Wait, now I have become little Peter's assistant. Then isn't she a tool person among tool people? In fact, there is an important reason for Lu Chuang to keep Lorna. That's why he fell in love with Lorna's ability. Whether it's Tony Stark's Mark series armor or Obadiah's Iron Overlord armor, their steel armor is made with the assistance of various sophisticated instruments. Lu Chuang is not as rich and powerful as Stark Industries, and he does not have relevant channels to purchase these instruments. The appearance of Lorna just helped Lu Chuang solve this problem. If little Peter is a technician who makes a super battle suit, then Lorna is a processing factory that makes a super battle suit. Lorna's ability can freely manipulate all metals. She can basically do what those instruments can do, and even some aspects are more convenient than instruments. This kind of ability is perfect for assisting in the production of steel armor. Wait a minute, this is different from what we agreed on. I didn't promise to be an assistant. Lorna quickly interrupted the conversation between the two. Just now she thought it was just doing a small favor, but now it seems that she is clearly going to be a long-term tool. Lu Chuang pondered for a moment. So you want to wash the toilet? Quote. Lu Chuang nodded. That's right, you stay here as little Peter's assistant, with food and lodging included, and the working hours do not exceed 4 hours. How can there be such a good salary? The corner of Lorna's mouth twitched. She felt as if she had been tricked, and she suddenly became an assistant, even a primary school student's assistant. But under the eaves, Lorna has no right to choose, mainly because she doesn't want to wash the toilet. All right. After hesitation for a while, finally Lorna just nodded in agreement. Lu Chuang patted Lorna on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Work hard in the future, the organization will not treat you badly." Hee. In this way, Lu Chuang pulled Lorna into his super battle suit production team. For this reason, Lu Chuang specially chose a name for this group. FK Tony Stark Squad. The name is simple and rude, but it is infused with Lu Chuang's expectations, and he hopes that the two team members can aim for this. Lorna was speechless after hearing the name. But when little Peter heard it, he screamed to make a super battle suit to put Tony Stark under his feet, because this is the best tribute to idols from fans. Lu Chuang was quite touched when he heard it, so he edited the video of Tony Stark being stepped on by the Iron Bully BDDF into a short video and put it in the car curry for loop playback, so that little Peter can always watch this video when he is studying, constantly motivating little Peter to move forward. And Lu Chuang was not idle. A few days later, he took on a new job with Weasel, intending to collect 50 million United States dollars as soon as possible. As night approached, Lu Chuang went out to act again, leaving little Peter to toss about in his garage. In normal times, Lu Chuang would definitely not be able to put a 7-year-old child named Peter in the curry. After all, there are dangerous guns and ammunition everywhere. If something happens, his home might be blown up. Gone. Now that Lorna is taking care of little Peter at home, he doesn't have so many worries. This time Lu Chuang accepted not a commission, but a reward. Just like the Russian Ross gang and Jin and offered a reward to Lu Chuang, the identity of the employer is public. It is worth noting that this employer is called Mr. Negative, and he leads a gang organization called Devil Gang. It is said that he is an Asian, and he is also from Lu Chuang's hometown. The target of the bounty offered by the other party is the gang's deadly rival, the leader of the Magia gang, Joseph Harrow, code-named Hammerhead. According to the information circulated outside, this Joseph Harrow is said to be an undead monster-like existence, because someone once saw his head was hit by a bullet. Not only his head was unscathed, but in the end he brutally killed the enemy. It was also because of this rumor that many people did not dare to provoke Joseph Harrow. In addition, several people who were not afraid of death accepted the reward, but they were all hanged on the pier by Joseph Harrow. Not many people here are willing to accept it until now. However, the reward for this reward is still very generous, as much as 20 million United States dollars. When Lu Chuang saw the reward, he chose to accept it without saying a word. As for that rumor, Lu Chuang didn't care about it either. Haven't he seen few monsters? The stronghold of the Magia gang is a large factory, surrounded by closed states. It is difficult to observe the situation inside. There are a few gangsters squatting on the periphery. Their vigilance is very low, chatting and laughing there. It seems that they don't think that anyone will dare to break into their stronghold of the Magia gang at this time. Biu. Suddenly, several anesthetic needles were pierced into their necks. Without any struggle, they fell to the ground and passed out, with blood flowing from their necks. Soon, Lu Chuang, wearing a black suit, came out from the corner. He took the gun of kindness and walked to the factory gate, but found a password device installed next to the gate. Lu Chuang didn't panic, but calmly reached out to touch the password. I didn't see any movement from Lu Chuang, and the password device suddenly displayed a 6-digit password. With a beep, the door lock opened automatically. Lu Chuang walked into the factory swaggeringly, and sighed in his heart. The feature of the master key is really convenient. If I change careers to become a thief, I will definitely be able to get along well. Walking into the factory, Lu Chuang found that the space here is very large, and it may take a lot of time to find the exact location of Joseph Harrow. At this moment, Lu Chuang saw a gang member passing by, and he stretched out his hand to pull him over, and asked politely, "Hello, please refer to where is Joseph Harrow?" Looking at the muzzle pointing at his forehead, the gang member broke out in a cold sweat. "Second, office number 2, our boss is resting." "Don't be nervous, this is an anesthesia gun." Lu Chuang smiled kindly, signaling the other party to relax. Hearing this, the gangsters couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The anesthesia gun is at most just a coma, and that power won't kill them. Immediately afterwards, he heard Lu Chuang continue to say, "However, after my transformation, the power of this anesthesia gun has been raised by me several notches. At this distance, the anesthesia needle should be able to poke directly into your brain." Gang member: "What is the meaning of this tranquilizer gun? Is it for killing people?" 2 minutes later, Lu Chuang and the big-nosed gangster were crouching in a corner, having a heated discussion. "I saw Big Nose said with a serious face, except for the few you dealt with outside, there are a total of 73 gangsters in this factory, and most of them are equipped with submachine guns with very powerful firepower, so I suggest you better avoid direct combat with them." Lu Chuang felt that what Big Nose said made sense, and nodded. "The hero sees the same thing. In fact, that's what I thought. I went around and killed Joseph Harrow, and then left without anyone noticing." Although Big Nose could not understand these proverbs, it did not prevent him from understanding. However, the degree of difficulty in doing so is too high, our boss. Under Lu Chuang's direct gaze, Big Nose immediately changed his words. "The number 2 office where Joseph Harrow works is located in the deepest part of the factory, and there are gangsters on patrol all around. It is not easy to bypass them. If something goes wrong, they may be discovered at any time." Quote, "I see, your information is very useful, thank you very much." Lu Chuang thanked. Big Nose waved his hands again and again. "It's just a small matter, there is no need to thank you, it should be my honor to help you deal with the hateful Joseph Harrow. Well, I have said everything I need to say. The bomb on my body, can you untie it?" At the moment, there is a C4 bomb tied inside the jacket of the Big Nose. The incessant sound of beeps made Dabatu tremble in fright. Under such circumstances, he dared not hide anything, and directly revealed all the information he knew. Lu Chuang said cheerfully, "What daydreams are you doing at night?" "The explosion setting of this bomb is to detonate actively and detonate from detonation. I press the button and it will explode, and it will explode when you remove the bomb. Do you think it's amazing?" "What? Amazing, you uncle?" Big Nose greeted Lu Chuang's family frantically in his heart, and greeted Lu Chuang's family with a smile on his face. "That's it, then I won't hinder your actions. I wish you success in killing Joseph Harrow." Unexpectedly, Lu Chuang shook his head. "You're wrong about something." "Ah." Dabatu was taken aback, and quickly said, "I swear that I never lied, It's not me, it's us." Lu Chuang interrupted him, looking at Big Nose seriously. "Let's kill Joseph Harrow together." The Big Nose's smile froze instantly. "No, I'm timid, so I won't make trouble for you." Lu Chuang patted Big Nose on the shoulder and encouraged him. "You may not even notice it yourself, but you have great potential hidden in yourself, and now is a good opportunity to express yourself. As long as you kill Joseph Harrow, you will. It is the words of the Urgia gang that depend on people. It's not my turn to be the boss if I kill Joseph Harrow." Big Nose wanted to cry but had no tears. Lu Chuang thought for a while. "Then kill all competitors who are stronger than you." Big Nose's expression became even more uncomfortable. "If all of them are killed, I will be the only one left in the Magia gang." Lu Chuang was taken aback for a moment, and then persuaded earnestly. "Listen to me, if the bomb doesn't explode this time, you can go back and find someone to marry. Gangsters may not be suitable for you." Big Nose. Faced with Lu Chuang's threat, Big Batu dared not play any tricks at all. So, under the leadership of his 25-year-old son, Lu Chuang successfully escaped some gangsters who were patrolling, and kept going deep into the factory. Needless to say, this place is really big, densely packed goods are piled up around, and the entire factory is arranged like a maze. If Lu Chuang comes in by himself, let alone find Joseph Harrow, I am afraid that he will not be able to find him. It will take some time to figure it out. As Lu Chuang and Dabatu walked into the depths of the factory, Lu Chuang suddenly grabbed Dabatu and hid in a corner, making a booing gesture at Dabatu. Before Big Nose could figure out the situation, he saw two figures with submachine guns passing by. If it wasn't for Lu Chuang's pulling, he might be discovered. Seeing the figure walk over, Big Nose couldn't help but heaved a sigh of relief. But soon, he noticed something was wrong. "Maid, I'm not this guy's accomplice, so why be nervous?" Big Nosey pointed to the room on the second floor, and said in a low voice, "That's the number 2 office, and Joseph Harrow is resting in it." Lu Chuang looked around and touched his chin. "Sure enough, there are more people patrolling here. It seems that we have to make a perfect plan. The Big Nose is very uncomfortable, can you not take me with you?" This is forcing him to be a traitor. Big Nose tried to persuade. Joseph Harrow is a very cautious person. He often has a group of his most loyal men guarding him. These people are equipped with heavy machine guns. We just can't rush in. Lu Chuang nodded thoughtfully. "You make a lot of sense." Seeing that Lu Chuang seemed to be shaken, Big Batu hurriedly said, "That's right, so let's run quickly, if they find out, we will be finished." "Don't worry, I thought of a way." Lu Chuang comforted the excited Big Nose with the muzzle of his gun, and Big Nose calmed down instantly, and listened carefully to Lu Chuang's next words. "You were right before, we want to avoid direct combat, so we have to have a bait to lure away." They then sneaked in again and took out Joseph Harrow. Big Nose asked curiously, "What is this bait?" "That's a good question." Lu Chuang smiled slightly, and lightly touched the bomb on Big Nose's body. Suddenly, a line of code was displayed on the bomb, which seemed to trigger some special device. Beep beep. Hearing the rapid beeping sound, Big Nose asked in horror, "What is this?" Lu Chuang kindly explained, "This is the third hidden explosion mechanism of the bomb. If the heart rate is lower than 120 after 1 minute, you will explode directly on the spot, so run quickly." "Mad, what are you doing so fancy with a bomb?" Just as Big Nose was about to speak, he saw Lu Chuang suddenly pull out a bomb and throw it at the patrolling gangsters. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening explosion, all the gangsters were shocked, and then reacted. "Damn, there are enemies sneaking in. Where is the enemy? UF King." His big nose and face were all blue. Seeing this scene, he still didn't know Lu Chuang's purpose. But he had no choice but to run out of the corner, and then ran wildly with his legs, shouting, "My own people, don't shoot." Not surprisingly, other gangsters quickly noticed the running nose. "I see, that damned guy is there, don't let this guy get away. Stop for me. Fack, if you don't stop we'll shoot." Hearing their shouts, Big Nose ran even faster. If he runs, he will die, and if he doesn't run, he will die. At the same time, Joseph Harrow, who was sitting on a chair in the spacious office, also heard the movement. He stood up abruptly and said angrily, "What happened outside? Why is there an explosion?" Joseph Harrow, code-named Hammerhead, has a huge head, which is half the size of a normal person. With that tall body shape, the whole person looks like a frightening Frankenstein. A loyal underling reported, "Someone sneaked in and killed our men with grenades, and now the intruder has escaped, and the others are after him." Hearing this, Joseph Harrow's expression became ugly, and he said coldly, "Try to catch that intruder alive. I want to see which guy who is not afraid of death dares to attack the Magia gang." Boom. 6:30. At this moment, there was a knock on the door suddenly. Joseph Harrow frowned, and signaled a subordinate to check with his eyes. The subordinate nodded and immediately walked over and asked, "Who is outside?" "Hello, is Joseph Harrow there?" A completely unfamiliar voice came from outside. Hearing his words, Joseph Harrow's vigilance was instantly raised to the extreme, and he told his subordinates, "Don't let him in, all of you guard the door, contact some people to come back for support, catch this suspicious guy outside for me." Ignoring the guys outside, Joseph Logan wasn't worried about the stalemate going on like this. With a cautious personality, he has long turned the office into a safe house. Even the door is a thick iron door with several safety locks installed inside. It is difficult to get in unless it is a fire bombing. "I heard voices." The voice outside continued to shout, "You are Joseph Harrow, I have something to give you, how about you open the door?" "Are you kidding? If you have the guts, just come in by yourself." Joseph Harrow's eyes were glistening with brutal blood. He would not let go of the guy who provoked him easily, and threatened with a grinning grin, "No matter who you are dead, I will hang you and the previous guy on the pier." "That's what you said, then I'll come in." After saying that, Joseph Harrow saw that all the safety locks inside the iron door suddenly opened automatically. Immediately afterwards, the iron door was opened with a gap, and a brain came out from the outside, and everyone in the office looked at each other. Lu Chuang greeted. "Oh, it's so lively." Joseph Harrow looked confused and opened the lock from the outside. "What the hell kind of operation is this?" But before he and his subordinates could react, Lu Chuang took out a bunch of grenades from his pocket, threw them in the center of the office, and then slammed the iron door directly. Joseph Harrow and his subordinates suddenly widened their eyes. One of his subordinates reacted quickly and wanted to open the iron gate, but found that the gate had been locked again. "Do you need to be so fast?" Boom! With the terrifying explosion, the original safe house instantly became an iron coffin, trapping Joseph Harrow and his men inside. I have to admit that the quality of the safe house is really good. Even the grenade explosion did not cause any damage. Lu Chuang used the master key to push open the iron door again, and thick smoke mixed with stench came out from inside. The scene in the office at the moment, it was beyond description. Lu Chuang didn't go in, but stood outside and looked at the office. Soon, he saw a faint white soul hidden in the corner. "You bastard!" The wreckage of the furniture was pushed away, and the stained Joseph Harrow stood up, glaring at Lu Chuang with a face full of anger. "I'm going to screw your head off." While speaking, Joseph Harrow rioted, rushing towards Lu Chuang like a beast. Boom! A muffled gunshot sounded suddenly. Joseph Harrow tilted his head, and saw a golden bullet hitting his forehead, spinning rapidly but unable to go any further, and finally fell powerlessly to the ground. "Ha ha ha! Do you want to kill me with this?" Joseph Harrow removed the bullet from his forehead, and with a cruel smile on the corner of his mouth, he pointed at his head and said provocatively, "It seems that you don't know how I got the name Hammerhead. Come on, keep shooting here, see if your bullet can kill me." Lu Chuang raised his brows. Is this guy also a thick tank like Gina? Hearing Joseph Harrow's provocation, Lu Chuang unceremoniously raised his pistol and shot Joseph Harrow in the head several times. However, with the sound of hitting steel, all the bullets fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, Joseph Harrow's expression became more and more arrogant. He stopped and began to walk slowly towards Lu Chuang, as if he wanted to create a sense of despair for Lu Chuang. "I said, I gonna screw you off your head. Oh, my leg." Joseph Harrow suddenly screamed, and he collapsed to the ground, hugging his bleeding leg. Lu Chuang. Looking at Lu Chuang who shot, Joseph Harrow blurted out, "Why don't you shoot me in the head?" In fact, Joseph Harrow's head was caused by a gang fight, and his head was severely injured. Later, the doctor replaced him with an iron skull, so that he had an indestructible iron head. Even if someone pointed at him, a shot to the head of Joseph Harrow couldn't hurt him. It is for this reason that there are rumors of so-called undead monsters. After all, monsters that cannot be killed by headshots will naturally be misunderstood by people as monsters that cannot be killed by the whole body. As a result, it never occurred to him that after Lu Chuang found that his head could not be killed, he did not choose to run away in fear, but fired another shot at his knee, and Joseph Harrow, who was defenseless, knelt down directly. "Do you think your head is Captain America's shield?" Lu Chuang curled his lips, and he tried it curiously, but he didn't expect this guy to kneel down. Thinking that he was almost bluffed by this guy, Lu Chuang continued to shoot at Joseph Harrow's thigh, muttering incessantly, "Diamond legs, right. King Kong legs." Joseph Harrow was beaten until he screamed. His legs were bleeding profusely. "My King name is Hammerhead, not Vajra legs. If you want to hit me, hit my head." At this moment, Joseph Harrow's legs were beaten bloody. Lu Chuang can basically confirm that this guy is a good-looking guy, and his Vajra legs are all deceptive. "I'm not a diamond leg, I'm a hammerhead," Joseph Harrow murmured with a pale face. Looking at Joseph Harrow's tragic situation, Lu Chuang showed no sympathy at all. According to the intelligence information provided by Weasel, the Magia gang led by this guy is a gang organization for human trafficking, and none of the members of the Magia gang are innocent. Seeing that the muzzle of the gun was gradually aimed at the heart from the thigh, Joseph Harrow's face became even paler. His heart was not as hard as his head, and he hurriedly said, "Don't kill me. Who invited you here? Is it Mr. Negative? I can offer you double the price he gave you." Lu Chuang curled his lips in disdain. "How is it possible? I am a person with professional ethics." "3 times, no, I will pay 4 times. Lu Chuang still shook his head, mainly because he didn't think this diamond leg could pay so much money. Just as Lu Chuang was about to shoot, he suddenly heard a tearing air sound coming from behind. Lu Chuang felt a force hit his head, and his body tilted out uncontrollably. From the corner of Lu Chuang's eyes, he just saw a sexy figure with long wine red hair and wearing a black tights. At some point, he appeared behind him silently and raised his leg to attack him. Taking advantage of Lu Chuang's loss of 13 gravity, the red-haired beauty immediately stretched out 2 hands, quickly grabbed his arm holding the gun, and knocked Lu Chuang's pistol to the ground with anti-joint, while raising one side of her long leg kicked Lu Chuang directly and flew out, then picked up the gun on the ground and aimed at Lu Chuang immediately. "You'd better not move." A sexy and slightly hoarse voice came, and the red-haired beauty stared at Lu Chuang closely. From the posture of holding her gun, it can be seen that this is a warrior with great fighting qualities, better than the Mindy Lu Chuang met before. Much more professional. Facing the black hole of the gun, Lu Chuang did not panic, but stood up unhurriedly. Seeing that Lu Chuang ignored her words completely, the red-haired beauty frowned, and pulled the trigger towards Lu Chuang's thigh, trying to stop Lu Chuang's threatening behavior. Crack. However, the expected scene did not appear, and the gun in the red-haired beauty's hand seemed to have no bullets, and it got stuck inexplicably. Lu Chuang kindly reminded, "My pistol is a pistol full of spirituality, which can identify its owner, and others cannot fire it." Hearing his words, the red-haired beauty immediately looked at the gun in her hand, only to find that there was a fingerprint recognition device on the handle of the gun, and an unknown red light was flashing rapidly beside it. At this time, Lu Chuang continued, "Besides, my gun has a rather irritable personality. If anyone other than its owner shoots, it will die on the spot with the gunman." Red-haired beauty. Before she had time to think, she immediately threw the damn pistol out. Boom. As Lu Chuang said, the pistol exploded suddenly when it was thrown in the distance. Although this power was far inferior to the grenade, it was still enough to directly blow a person's arm into disability. Seeing this, the red-haired beauty looked at Lu Chuang with a strange expression. "You know, things like pistols are prone to problems. If they are not handled properly, they may explode at any time. Isn't this guy afraid of explosions when he is holding them?" After throwing the pistol, the red-haired beauty decisively shot again. The tall black figure writhed sensitively in the air, with 2 long legs clamping Lu Chuang's head directly. Both hands clenched Lu Chuang's arm, and pressed Lu Chuang to the ground with the help of weight and inertia, forming a standard cross. Bullet time. Lu Chuang's pupils suddenly dilated, and his physical fitness soared under the blessing of adrenaline. He managed to stabilize his body that was about to fall, and lifted the red-haired beauty with one hand to suspend in midair. The two looked at each other. The atmosphere suddenly froze. Lu Chuang was not in a hurry, and said cheerfully, "It's okay, you can continue, just pretend that I don't exist." The red-haired beauty. Now her posture is a bit awkward, neither is she jumping off, nor is she not jumping off. Before she could think about it, she saw a pistol in Lu Chuang's other hand, pointing it at her. "Come on, tell me your purpose directly, why did you appear here? Where did this pistol come from?" The red-haired beauty was startled, but she noticed Lu Chuang's strange attitude, and frowned. "You seem to know me." Lu Chuang said solemnly, "It must be your illusion. I only know Wang Banbi who likes to wear leather clothes." In fact, Lu Chuang did recognize the identity of this red-haired beauty. "The person in front of me is none other than the famous Black Widow Natasha Romanoff, a high-level agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., also a member of Avengers veteran level." Natasha Romanoff didn't believe Lu Chuang's words. According to her agent experience, the identity of the mysterious man wearing a black mask in front of her was certainly not simple, and it was best to capture some useful information. However, she never expected that her sneak attack would fail. Instead, he is now under the control of the other party. However, after the trial just now, she was able to collect a lot of information. Judging from the posture of this guy holding the gun, he definitely received the most professional marksmanship training. But the strange thing is that the opponent's melee fighting skills are terrible, they basically rely on their reactions and strong physical fitness to deal with it, and they don't have any skills at all. Natasha Romanoff couldn't figure it out. It stands to reason that the most professional marksmanship training is generally in some special institutions, and it is impossible for these institutions to only teach marksmanship without teaching other skills. Could it be that the other party is still a partial student? For Natasha Romanoff, that's good news. Natasha Romanoff did not let go of her hands, just maintained this awkward posture and showed a charming smile to Lu Chuang. Actually, we can have a good talk. Before he could finish speaking, a small instrument suddenly popped out from the ring on Natasha Romanoff's wrist and hit Lu Chuang's neck directly. Natasha Romanoff then let go of his hands, and then a strong electric current erupted from Lu Chuang's body. I saw Lu Chuang fell to the ground trembling all over, and the pistol fell beside him. This time Natasha Romanoff had experience and did not touch the pistol. She glanced at Joseph Harrow, who was unconscious, and said, "Phil Coulson, I found Joseph Harrow, but his condition is not very good, and a medical team needs to be sent to rescue him." "I understand. We are clearing out the gangsters on the periphery. It will take about half a minute. Before that, try to save Joseph Harrow's life. The information on him is very important to us." Agent Phil Coulson's voice came from the communicator hidden in Natasha Romanoff's ear. "I know." Natasha Romanoff looked at Lu Chuang, who was lying on the ground. "One more thing, I found a suspicious person here. It seems that his target is also Joseph Harrow, and he seems to recognize my identity, so I can't confirm it at the moment which organization or institution is a member of." "Recognize your identity?" Phil Coulson was a little surprised. Natasha Romanoff's Black Widow identity was in a semi-secret state, and it was impossible for ordinary people to know the existence of Black Widow, unless Natasha Romanoff had seen it in previous missions. Phil Coulson asked, "Is there any characteristic of the other party?" Natasha Romanoff looked at Lu Chuang. "He is dressed in pitch black, wearing a black mask, good at using firearms, and has good physical fitness. Now the other party has been stunned by me. You can take him back for interrogation later, and you should be able to find out something. Good at using guns, black all over, wearing a black mask." Phil Coulson muttered to himself. He always felt that this look was a bit familiar. Soon, a familiar image of Aquaman gradually emerged in his mind. "It's him." Phil Coulson's eyes widened immediately, and he shouted eagerly, "Natasha Romanoff, the electric shock doesn't work on him, get him under control." Natasha Romanoff was surprised by what Phil Coulson said. When Natasha Romanoff was about to reply, suddenly there was some noise in her ears, and Lu Chuang, who had been stunned, stood up slowly in front of her, staring at her with two dark eyes. Natasha Romanoff's pupils shrank suddenly, and the other party was able to stand up after being subjected to a high-intensity electric current. Out of instinct, Natasha Romanoff immediately raised her arm to stun Lu Chuang again. As a result, she found that the high-tech bracelet on her wrist had disappeared at some point. "You're looking for this." Lu Chuang swung her index finger, and a ring was spinning on her finger, which was her high-tech bracelet. "When did you steal it?" Natasha Romanoff was shocked and stole the high-tech bracelet in front of her, but she didn't feel it at all. Sensing that something was wrong, Natasha Romanoff reached for his pocket, wanting to take out other weapons to deal with it. However, she vacated again. "Natasha Romanoff, don't look for it, it's all here." Lu Chuang threw out a belt, and under Natasha Romanoff's dull gaze, he threw out all kinds of messy things, all of which were stolen from Natasha Romanoff when she was close to him. As for the high-tech bracelet, he used the characteristics of the master key to unlock it the moment he was stunned. In the end, Lu Chuang held a irritating liquid spray and said proudly, "Didn't someone tell you never to play close to a thief?" Natasha Romanoff's face darkened when she saw this, but she kept the bottle of spray in her chest. "Ha ha ha." At this moment, a loud laugh came from not far away. Joseph Harrow, who was unconscious, opened his eyes and pointed a gun at them. Obviously, he had pretended to be unconscious before, and secretly picked up the gun that Lu Chuang dropped just now. Joseph Harrow's eyes were red, his face was covered in blood, and his face was extremely ferocious. He yelled at Lu Chuang, "Listen to me, you idiot, my F-King name is Hammerhead, not King Kong Legs, you go die." Click, click. Joseph Harrow pulled the trigger, but there were two clicks. Seeing this, Joseph Harrow's ferocious face froze instantly. He pretended to be unconscious just now, but he didn't know that the pistol needed fingerprints to unlock it. Joseph Harrow grabbed the fingerprint pistol and looked at the two of them in embarrassment. Can I lie back down again? Lu Chuang pondered for half a second. I guess I will be able to confirm whether you are iron-headed or not later. What do you mean? Joseph Harrow was puzzled. However, Lu Chuang and Natasha Romanoff did not answer him and fell to the ground at the same time. Boom. As the pistol flickered red, the pistol suddenly exploded in the hands of Joseph Harrow. Due to the close proximity, the fragments of the pistol after the explosion pierced Joseph Harrow's neck directly, and Joseph Harrow, who was already bloody, was instantly taken away from all the blood bars and lost his breath on the spot. It is worth noting that Joseph Harrow's head was only partially torn, exposing the metal material inside. Joseph Harrow proved with his own life that he has the iron head, not the diamond leg. Natasha Romanoff, tell me what's going on with you now. Phil Coulson's voice came from the communicator, and he seemed to have heard the explosion just now. Natasha Romanoff quickly got up from the ground, and said with a strange expression, the target is dead. Phil Coulson was taken aback. What's going on? The target exploded on the spot, and it was too late to stop it. Phil Coulson. After all, she is the top agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Natasha Romanoff quickly came to her senses. She is thinking about the next countermeasures. Now that the target is dead, all she needs to deal with is this guy in front of her. But the problem is, now that she has lost most of her equipment, she can only fight with bare hands, which undoubtedly adds a lot of difficulty to her. Seeing Natasha Romanoff's solemn expression, Lu Chuang stood up and said, "Don't be nervous, I never hit women." Really? Natasha Romanoff's eyes lit up. Being good at exploiting the enemy's weaknesses is the basic quality of an agent. Fake. Lu Chuang suddenly took 2 steps forward and punched Natasha Romanoff directly at the south gate. Natasha Romanoff cursed inwardly, but her reaction was quite quick. She didn't catch Lu Chuang's fist hard. She leaned back and lowered her waist to avoid the fist. Then, with a sudden force from her waist, she raised her leg and kicked Lu Chuang's chest to knock him back. Lu Chuang felt the power coming from his chest, which was stronger than an adult man. He would never believe that Natasha Romanoff had never received any strengthening. It is no wonder that the other party will fight against one of Thanos' 5 generals in the future. 50-50. The moment Natasha Romanoff retracted his legs, Lu Chuang's pupils quickly zoomed in, and he grabbed Natasha Romanoff's long legs directly, and then turned around forcefully. The right leg was under control, and Natasha Romanoff was turned over uncontrollably, and then a hand suddenly grabbed the back of her neck and pressed it directly to the ground. Her cheek was hurt by the cold ground. She wanted to struggle to get up, but felt until Lu Chuang's knee firmly pressed against his waist. Immediately afterwards, Natasha Romanoff felt the communicator removed from her ear. Lu Chuang took the communicator and asked, "Hi, is anyone there?" There was silence on the communicator for a while, and then Phil Coulson's steady voice came, "Hi, we meet again." Lu Chuang was also silent for a while. "Who are you?" Phil Coulson didn't expect that Lu Chuang's first sentence would be this, and said helplessly, "We met before in the Stoker Group Industrial Zone." Lu Chuang suddenly realized, "You are that Phil Coulson with a high hairline." Phil Coulson is a bit uncomfortable. Why do you have to bring up his hairline? Through the communicator, Lu Chuang could faintly hear some gunshots. Considering that the gangsters who were drawn away have not moved yet, Lu Chuang has roughly guessed what happened, and asked curiously, "What is your purpose this time?" "What?" Phil Coulson said without any hesitation. "This group of gangsters has seriously endangered the safety of the people. We must arrest these criminals to prevent they from causing danger to society again." Lu Chuang also came at Zonko. "Coincidentally, my goal is the same as yours. Fighting criminals is everyone's responsibility." Strength. The two immediately confirmed that the other party did not come to fight criminals. However, due to the fact that both Natasha Romanoff and the mission target are in the hands of Lu Chuang, Phil Coulson can't continue to pretend this time. Phil Coulson said bluntly, "Our people have surrounded this place. You can't escape. Hand over our people, we can let you get out of here." Hearing Phil Coulson's words, Lu Chuang curled his lips. This kind of words can also deceive children. Just as Lu Chuang was about to say something, he saw the game system pop up suddenly. Open black lens bracket title trigger, close black lens bracket. Master of Disguise, complete. Unlock condition. Surprise 30 shield agents without being discovered, 0/30. Title obtained. Super high school level spy. Trigger new achievement quests. Lu Chuang took a look at the content and found that it was very suitable for his current situation. Isn't he surrounded by a lot of shield agents now? But the problem is that it is not so easy for Lu Chuang to sneak attack those shield agents without being detected. After all, Phil Coulson already knows of his existence, and he should have discovered it long ago. Found. Thinking of this, Lu Chuang looked up at Natasha Romanoff below. Open black lens bracket target does not meet the conditions, close black lens bracket. As Lu Chuang imagined, he was discovered by Natasha Romanoff a long time ago, and he does not meet the condition of not being discovered. Lu Chuang thought about it, and felt that he still had to experiment, so he threw away the communicator in his hand. Seeing this, Natasha Romanoff didn't know that the conversation between Phil Coulson and Lu Chuang failed. Natasha Romanoff's face was squeezed by the ground, and she said in a muffled voice, "You can't escape. There are our helicopters outside, which can monitor your escape route at high altitude at any time. Giving up resistance now is the right choice." Lu Chuang picked up the fishing line he found from Natasha Romanoff and tied up Tasha. After making sure that Natasha Romanoff's hands could not be freed, Lu Chuang looked at Natasha Romanoff condescendingly. "You better see clearly how I escaped from under your noses." After finishing speaking, Lu Chuang left gracefully and disappeared in Natasha Romanoff's line of sight. Sensing Lu Chuang's self-confidence almost overflowing, Natasha Romanoff frowned slightly. Could it be that the other party is still hiding some tricks? Not to think too much, Natasha Romanoff heard Lu Chuang's words and felt that the other party should be preparing to escape, and probably wouldn't care about her side, so she immediately transformed into a caterpillar and wriggled on the ground, and she wanted to crawl to the communicator to contact Phil Coulson. However, at this moment, Natasha Romanoff suddenly saw a large shadow covering herself. Natasha Romanoff quickly twisted her waist and turned her head, only to find that Lu Chuang, who was supposed to leave, was actually standing behind her. At the moment, he was holding up a wooden stick that he didn't know where he was picking up, as if he was about to smash it down. Natasha Romanoff. Lu Chuang. 1. Lu Chuang did not expect that Natasha Romanoff would suddenly turn his head. Sensing Natasha Romanoff's unfriendly gaze, Lu Chuang put away the wooden stick and said solemnly, "Sorry, I got lost just now, and when I turned around, I saw your sneaky look, and thought you were a remnant of a gangster." "Well, go ahead, my wife has run away." Lu Chuang left again, throwing the communicator another distance before leaving. Natasha Romanoff. If it wasn't inconvenient now, she really wanted to fly into the air and use her long legs to use the deadly scissors to crush this guy's head. Confirming that Lu Chuang is gone, Natasha Romanoff continues to wriggle on the ground. No way, she needs to spread the information here. Natasha Romanoff squirmed for a while, and when she was about to touch the communicator, suddenly, a large shadow covered her. Natasha Romanoff turned her head blankly, staring at Lu Chuang, who raised the wooden stick. "Aren't you going to run away?" Seeing that he was discovered again, Lu Chuang put away the wooden stick as if nothing had happened, pretending that nothing happened, and said seriously, "It's nothing, I just want to ask how to get to the exit." Hearing Lu Chuang's clumsy lies, Natasha Romanoff's eyelids twitched a few times. She wasn't an idiot, so she could naturally guess what Lu Chuang was trying to do with this action, and she clearly wanted to sneak attack her. But Natasha Romanoff couldn't figure it out. "If you want to hit me with a stick, just hit me. Why did you have to sneak around and attack me?" Seeing Natasha Romanoff's complete disbelief, Lu Chuang sighed. Sure enough, the achievement task is not so easy to complete. The other party can find him so easily, it is too difficult for him to sneak attack. At this moment, Lu Chuang seemed to think of something. Lu Chuang suddenly grabbed Natasha Romanoff and walked to a pillar, and wrapped Natasha Romanoff and the pillar with the tape he just found, especially around the head. Lu Chuang purposely wrapped the tape a few times to fix it, and sealed Natasha Romanoff's mouth. After doing all this, Lu Chuang emphasized, "I really want to leave this time." Woo! Natasha Romanoff stared at landing BDDA Chuang, and kept making noises, not knowing what she was talking about. Ignoring Natasha Romanoff's murderous gaze, Lu Chuang turns away from Natasha Romanoff's view. A few seconds later, Natasha Romanoff heard footsteps coming from behind, and then a shadow appeared out of the corner of her eye. Natasha Romanoff. To be honest, this is the most persistent sneak attack Natasha Romanoff has seen since her long career as an agent. Natasha Romanoff tried to look behind, but found that her head was firmly fixed by tape, so she gave up struggling. Do it, hurry up, too. Clang. With a dull knocking sound, Natasha Romanoff simply passed out. Unlock condition. Surprise 30 SHIELD agents without being discovered, 1/30th. Lu Chuang stood behind Natasha Romanoff holding a stick, and nodded in satisfaction. The sneak attack was successful. If Lu Chuang's guess is correct, the condition of being undiscovered does not depend on whether the opponent discovers his existence, but whether he is completely out of the enemy's observation range. For example, Natasha Romanoff, even if Natasha Romanoff knows the existence of Lu Chuang and knows that Lu Chuang is going to attack him, but Lu Chuang has been out of Natasha Romanoff's observation range for a period of time, the game system assumes that Natasha Romanoff has not found Lu Chuang. If Lu Chuang took advantage of this time to attack Natasha Romanoff and did not enter Natasha Romanoff's field of vision again, he would be regarded as not being discovered by Natasha Romanoff, just like the NPCs in some assassin games. Their vision is all as if they did not see. By the way, how old is Black Widow Natasha Romanoff? Does this count as a sneak attack on an old comrade? Tread, tread. Lu Chuang heard a sound of orderly footsteps coming from a distance. It was obvious that S.H.I.E.L.D. had already dealt with the gangsters outside. Lu Chuang didn't have any hesitation, and quickly left in one direction with a wooden stick. Not long after, Phil Coulson arrived at the scene with a group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Compared with the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the gangsters outside are basically no different from trash fish, and they can't resist their pace at all. Phil Coulson scanned the messy scene, and his eyes quickly locked on Natasha Romanoff. Seeing Natasha Romanoff's mummy-like appearance, Phil Coulson was stunned for a moment, then realized that Natasha Romanoff didn't respond. His expression changed slightly, and he immediately walked over to check on Natasha Romanoff's situation. Fortunately, Phil Coulson was secretly relieved to find that Natasha Romanoff had just fallen into a coma. Phil Coulson frowned, and ordered to the other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, completely seal off this area, search for the whereabouts of the attackers, notify people outside, monitor all suspicious people leaving the factory, and report any situation immediately. The S.H.I.E.L.D. agents nodded and began to disperse and search the entire factory. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.